1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage.
And I'm Madeline Cannon, and we have some exciting news to share with you. We've been serving the state of Alabama for many, many years, and now we are able and ready to offer the same great mortgage financing in Georgia and Florida as well.
Our company may be Alabama Home Mortgage, but now we can finance your Georgia home mortgage and your Florida home mortgage too. We couldn't be more excited to extend our customer base to our neighboring states. For years, we have had customers call us in hopes we could assist them with purchasing their vacation cabin in North Georgia or their dream home in Florida. And now we can. For those of you who have family and friends that live in Florida and Georgia, be sure to tell them the good news.
Whether you are looking to purchase or refinance a home located in Alabama, Georgia, or Florida, you owe it to yourself to give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time.
It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome to Eclectic Coins, Montgomery's largest coin dealer, specializing in buying and selling investment-grade gold and silver coins. And they have a large selection of rare coins and coins from around the world. Visit them at 543 Northeastern Boulevard or on the web at eclecticcoins.com. Eclectic Coins, where collectors who know go.
1 in 8 women will face breast cancer. But the Breast Cancer Research Foundation is changing that. With breakthroughs in prevention and treatment, we're not just saving lives, we're rewriting the future, giving those diagnosed more time to not just survive, but thrive. This is the moment. This is the mission. Support breast cancer research until 1 in 8 is none in 8.
With Progressive, you can reach customer service in the way that's easiest for you, by phone, app, or online. We know it would be great if we just magically appeared, but that's more of a genie thing, and we do insurance. But with us, you'd be like, well, it wasn't a genie, but it was great customer service, so that's nice. And sure, you probably would still like the whole 3 wishes thing, so if you meet a genie, you should definitely ask. But when you need us, contact Progressive by phone, app, or online. Just no genies. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Looking for insurance, or maybe you're just not satisfied with your current carrier? How does quality coverage with local service and competitive rates sound to you? The folks at Stark Agency offer just that. Whether you need insurance for your business, car, home, or life, Stark Agency can help. As an independent insurance agency with over 20 of the top insurance carriers, Stark is sure to find the perfect match for you and your loved ones. Visit their site at starkagency.com or give them a call at 334-263-5535 for a quote today.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Welcome into the program. Lovely Wednesday here in Montgomery, Alabama. I'm your host, Joey Clark. And there's much to get to today. I believe City Councilman Andrew Szymanski will be joining us in the 1 o'clock hour. John Wall, he is also wears many hats, but in particular we'll be talking about his chairmanship there at the Alabama Public Library Services and that new amendment that has been proposed, and we will get into that with him at about 12:30. And of course, there's plenty in the news today. In particular, they're already starting to say JD Vance is scarier than Trump. You know, they did this with DeSantis before Trump had his return. But to kick off the show, as we always do on Wednesdays, we have the one, the only Jeff Poor, host of the Jeff Poor Show there at 106.5 FM in the Mobile Fairhope area. And of course, he's editor-in-chief there at 1819news.com. Jeff, how you doing today?
Doing well. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here. Now, I got to begin with the Watkins Jr. story and just your take on Mayor Reed deciding, hey, I think I want to give this guy a $120,000 a year gig.
I mean, maybe at best, he thought that no one would notice. It's so tone deaf, and this tone deafness comes at a really bad time, a very pivotal time for the city, city hall, right?
Yes.
So my first instinct, my first reaction was, he's just giving up, right? He sees the writing on the wall. He's not concerned about public opinion. He's just blowing and going here, and that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, and for those who maybe are my age or younger, I'm kind of looking for a little bit of history here, at least as you know it. What is like the deal with, say, the Watkinses and also the Reeds, like as power players, especially in Democrat black politics here in the state of Alabama?
Donald Watkins Sr. is the guy. I mean, he was always in the mix, especially when he was the go-to defense attorney for a lot of black politicians. He was the go-to defense attorney for Richard Scarier, right? Yes. During that saga. He was known as that before. This is all before his downfall, but I mean, he was a prominent figure in Alabama, seen as a guy who knew the judges and knew how the system worked, whatever you want to make of it. Now, his downfall, he decided to gather up some investors, and he was, I guess he was, the biggest thing was he was kind of dining off of Condoleezza Rice's name with his, and he was gathering investors, telling them that, she was part of their whatever, their strategy. And I don't think that she was. That was proven in court. But he defrauded some very prominent people, probably the most notable name, Charles Barkley. But his son was in on it. And the son, it's not that, you don't want Donald Watkins Jr. because of his father. I mean, that's not it at all. No. But he was actually a part of all this. He was convicted. He had to serve. And, this came up again when Reed was running for mayor. Watkins had given money to his campaign, and there was Donald Watkins Jr. There was some talk about that at the time, but this sort of goes beyond that, beyond a campaign contribution. It's more along the lines of is this the best person possible, best person available to offer a six-figure job to?
Yeah, and we had somebody call in who was ex-felon, drug addict, and nobody would give him a chance. He's finally got a second chance. He's doing better in life, and he's like, "Why are y'all dogging out a convict and a felon?" And that's not the point here. I wish Donald Watkins Jr. all the best. I think he's got the talents to go live a good life. But it's literally like if you got a drug problem, we're not putting you in charge of the pharmacy. And if you went along, not just went along with, like if you look into I think the court cases, it's very premeditated on both father and son's part. So you're going to let him be in charge of dispersing a lot of funds, building commercial relationships for small businesses in the city. That just seems like the worst pick. He maybe pick him as like a personal advisor or something. We'd still grumble, but not in the same way at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's fair. The other thing I would add to that, though, is just that the drug addict, former recovering drug addict that called in, would you get that same opportunity that Donald Watkins Jr. is? And it's because of his political connections. He has this, he has his lifeline, or whatever you want to call it. He has, so it's not a true meritocracy, and that's just bad government in general.
Now, do you see this as sort of like, as we were talking about on your show earlier, it's sort of like, let's create a Democrat bulwark against the incoming coach, soon to be Governor Tommy Tuberville. And because it just seems to a lot of folks out there that Tuberville's like this awful conservative turn. And when I'm like, no, Tuberville seems to represent a lot of folks, most folks, the vast majority of folks in the state from what he says. But it seems like they're going to try to make a lot of hay out of Tuberville's, say, higher profile running for the governor's office.
Wasn't that the whole thing with Democrats now that I don't know, this plays to a certain constituency perhaps, but it doesn't have broad appeal. And look, Democrats got a big hole to dig out of in Alabama. There's no question, but you're not going to win anything statewide. You may win locally. But with your own folks, but you got to win over hearts and minds And I think that's true. I think that, when you look at what's coming down the pike with Tuberville and that campaign, and it's going to be a juggernaut. He's the 99% favorite to be the next governor of Alabama. But still going to get a lot of attention. And if a Democrat could make it interesting or at least say some things and get out there, then maybe it's sort of like there's a chance here to make your star shine a little brighter nationally, right?
Right.
But I think that doesn't really solve the problem for state Democrats right now. They don't. They're not appealing to the right people. You have a far left sort of. I don't know if it's far left. It's almost like a. I don't know if it's necessarily ideological, but it isn't. It doesn't have any appeal. And going back to the names of yesteryear, Donald Watkins is not how you get there.
Yeah, and it's just to put a cherry on this, I was laughing over the weekend when I saw that Donald Trump commuted the sentence of George Santos. So, if Mayor Reed really does believe in redemption and second chances, he should hire George Santos as Montgomery's comms person, and we could be truly fabulous here. I mean, it's just...
Well, and maybe this is a fair point. Had it been somebody who wasn't Donald Watkins, who had Jordan Burgess in the past, who wasn't a prominent figure, would the sentence, would the punishment be as harsh? Because that's what I think is the case with Santos. Because Santos,
right.
I mean, if it were Joey Clark or Jeff Ford who committed the same crimes that Santos had, would we have faced the stiff sentence? Would we have been made an example out of it? That's an equal application of justice. I don't know that to be the case, but that's the way it feels like to me. Donald Trump did not pardon him, but he commuted the sentence. And I think maybe that's in line with sort of the standard of what we typically give to people who commit this kind of fraud.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, got in a second, about 15, 20 shopping minutes or so, Chairman John Wall, and are we still having a fight at the state level over, say, obscene materials, sexual content being put in front of children? I like this new amendment that's been written up to stop this with the public library service, but it still seems like it brings a lot of dogged for and against.
It does, but now I don't know how reliable the poll, and I'm sure he'll cite it on your show, but this is an 80-20 issue that Alabama people in the state overwhelmingly support what they're trying to do. And if that's the case, then by all means proceed. But I find that 20% very vocal, very active, very engaged. And there's sort of this idea that, like, look, we're the experts here. We have the library science degree from Huntington College or wherever. You need to listen to us, trust us. And that's, that's just not where people are with regard to their institutions in Alabama or in government in general.
Yeah, and for those who are just out there listening, want to know what we're talking about, the Alabama Public Library Service heard from 8,000 people during a 6-week public comment period. They had a big old meeting. I think there were some like 67 speakers yesterday. But of the 8,400 comments received over 6 weeks, 6,700 of them, give or take, were in support of the amendment, about 1,600 against. The amendment states, under this section, any material that promotes, encourages, or positively depicts transgender procedures, gender ideology, or the concept of more than two biological genders shall be considered inappropriate for children and youth. And I know you're definitely going to annoy some trans activists, but I think this is not only the right thing to do, I think it is representative of the people of the state.
I think it's what's important. We don't live in Berkeley, California or Oregon or, places where, here's what happened, Joey. And this is the way I talk about all the time on my show. It just sort of happened, right? The library went to promoting this agenda out of nowhere. Probably in California or wherever this is acceptable to people. They had a town hall. They got some pushback. But in the end, they sort of coalesced around this idea that this is what they want their libraries to do. This is what they want the role to be in their society. This is the way they want it to be. And they had a discussion about it, and it came to be. I think in Alabama, it's different. And we're just in Alabama, just following the lead here, if you will. We're just following the lead of other states and what they're doing. We didn't have a conversation. We didn't ask people, what do you think is appropriate? What do you want? And it, like I said, it happened without much public buy-in, and now people are finding out about it, and this is the reaction.
And now shifting gears here, just seeing it reported at 1819 News by Caleb Taylor, President Trump has nominated Thomas Govan and former state Senator Phil Williams as U.S. attorneys for Alabama. That's two familiar faces. I've certainly had time to talk to Phil, and I've met Thomas when he was on the campaign trail. This is congratulations to both of these guys. I didn't see this coming.
No, there'd been some scuttlebutt about it here and there, and it was bound to happen. The Trump was going to have to appoint somebody to fill these positions. So I guess we're still waiting on the Southern District to see what happens there. But those are two prominent names. Obviously, Thomas Govan running for the appeals court, and then not unsuccessfully. But Phil Williams, we know him from Right Side Radio, and we know him from the Alabama State Senate.
Yeah, and I guess Phil will be taking care of the Northern District. Thomas will be the Middle District. We will, as you said, find out the latest. And now I got to end with this because it's one of my favorite headlines I've ever seen on 1819news.com. Fairhope No Kings penis protester identified. Who was this person?
Well, so it's a elderly lady.
Wow.
Who, for whatever reason, went to the Halloween Spirit at the local strip mall and asked where the adult section was and purchased this Halloween costume, which I don't fully grasp it, Joey. I don't know what's going on here, but what happened? I guess some people saw it, and the local police in Fairhope said, "No, this is this is disruptive conduct. This is disturbing the peace. You can't do that on the side of it." It all happened on the main thoroughfare, which is Greeno Road, U.S. Highway 98 in Fairhope, and she resisted arrest. And now I think we're going to have a First Amendment debate, and maybe we should, and what's allowable, what isn't, and but that's what happened. And to me, kind of watching her social media, she wants to fight it. She wants to take it on. We'll see how far the city of Fairhope's willing to go with this prosecution. But I think if they keep going and they say we're not going to allow this in our city limits, you're going to have a real discussion about First Amendment protections and what constitutes speech. But I'll say this in addition to all that, Joey. There's about 25% of the people in this city. They are just they are the boomer generation. They are your silver ponytail aging liberals. And then about 75% of the community is like the rest of the state, I would say. And there's like a real anger at their neighbors for supporting Donald Trump. It's weird. And I think these gestures, because it wasn't just that costume. That costume was probably the most egregious, but the signs they were waving on the side of the road were filled with vulgarities. And I mean, they're really, really angry that the people in their community voted for Donald Trump.
Yeah, I've been saying, and it does feel like this is the era. You might say it's the Trump era. You could put in all sorts of positive terms, but I see what we saw with the 24 election as we're definitely seeing in this year of 25 going into 26 is we're seeing the death and the last gasp of, say, liberal boomerdom. It's not to mean these folks aren't around still, and they definitely can be, but the dominant cultural position of, in particular, liberal boomers for the longest time, they just don't have it anymore. And I don't know, is this like kind of your inciting event, like your great civil rights moment for awfuls, affluent white female liberals? I saw your favorite cartoonist maybe was presenting it that way.
Yeah, I think so. It's the same people who are steadfast on the library issue here, which is another thing that they're really, really engaged on that. And it's just the same people who are going to show up for that court case next month for this lady. For the suspect charged in the penis costume or whatever you want to call it. But they're going to make it I think she is going to make it an issue, and they're going to take it all the way as far as they can because this is what they do.
Honestly, I hope they do it. Keep going.
Well, yeah. It's not a good look, and they're not winning hearts and minds, but they're just mad, and this is a release mechanism.
Yeah, it is. And the fact again that it was a 61-year-old woman in an inflatable penis costume. It's like, yeah, I think we are seeing the death of boomer.
She's straight out of Central Casting for Cat Lady. I'm telling you. I mean, if you see it, you're just like, what? It's bizarro world, but this is where the Trump derangement syndrome sort of takes us.
Well, I always appreciate your time, Jeff. If folks want to check out what you're writing about, thinking about, talking about, how can they do so?
1819 News, 1819news.com, but also x.com/Jeff_4.
Thank you, sir. Talk again soon.
Thanks for having me on.
Always appreciate Jeff's time. 272-9228 if you want to try to sneak in before I hit this break. But we do have Chairman John Wall joining us soon to talk about this new amendment. And I know it is important to many out there in radio listening land. And so we were going to hit that real quick. I think this, as we were talking about there with Jeff, a no-brainer. And even if you do argue with it, even if you find yourself in, I think, the small minority that might say, no, we should have the transgender ideology for the kids, you're in a small minority. And that's something I think people need to start understanding more and more, especially those that love to talk a big game about democracy and our public institutions. Is our public institutions should reflect the will of the people. Nobody's individual rights necessarily should be violated. But when it comes to public spaces, I think the majority has a right to dictate, here are the values, here are the things that our public spaces or public institutions stand for. We're not going to be ruled by career bureaucrats. We're going to be ruled by people elected by the actual population at large, whether it's state level or the municipal level or the county level. So I think John Wall is driving home a good point here. And when you see the response from this amendment, again, over 8,000 responses, and the vast majority of them all for this amendment banning aiming transgender ideology at kids in Alabama's public library. So look forward to talking to John about that. Before I hit this break, this part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting. And there at River Region Contracting, Todd Clark and that great team of his ready to help you with that roof of yours. Now, it could be you're just looking for regular maintenance. You're looking for folks you can trust. Well, that is definitely River Region Contracting. Or it could be you are worried. Like you had some stuff fall on the roof recently, or you haven't had it checked out in years, and you don't notice any problem immediately. But you're like, man, I've been kind of playing with fire. I've been negligent here maybe a little bit. Don't say that out loud. The insurance company will fight you. Instead, just call up River Region Contracting. And the great news is their inspections are always free. This is why you should get at least an annual inspection, in my humble opinion. And of course, if they do find an issue, they'll write up that estimate on how much it's going to cost to fix it for free as well. They'll sit down with you, explain exactly what the problem is, how you can fix it, how they will prevent these things going forward, and their insurance specialists. So if you are worried about fighting with your insurance company, going through that claims process, the great folks there at River Region Contracting can help you through it, make it a swift and easy experience. So you'll call them up today. That's 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell Todd Clark and the great team there at River Region Contracting that Joey Clark, that fella on the radio, sent you. We'll be right back after this.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Big news! Phillips Dunn Animal Hospital has a new name. But don't worry, everything you love is still the same. Now they're Pike Road Animal Hospital, still at 5148 Troy Highway, still the same great team you've trusted for years. Same friendly faces, same expert care, just a new name, and still offering boarding, grooming, and doggy daycare. Pike Road Animal Hospital, formerly Phillips Dunn Animal Hospital. New name, same heart. Compassion you know, care that you trust.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your Real Estate Minute. What is a smart way to buy a house in today's market? Now is a good time to buy since we now have a more balanced market than we've had in years. Here are the steps. First step, get pre-qualified with an experienced local lender. It costs you nothing to find out firsthand whether you can qualify for a home and how much that home loan will cost. Second step, hire a local realtor with lots of experience that can guide you, advise you, and be your advocate. We call those buyer agents. Third step, decide what your wants and needs have to be. Bedrooms, baths, floor plan, location, and school zones. Fourth, ask your realtor to line up homes that fit your price category and your location needs. Fifth, start actually looking inside these homes and see what is available and the cost of each property. For all of this information and step-by-step approach, call Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group at 221-2883 or 551-0225.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. At PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. Some really nice fall weather behind that little front that came through yesterday. Lots of sunshine today. High temperature probably only in the mid-70s with a low tonight in the lower 40s. Should be a nice breeze. Then mostly sunny Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with highs each day in the upper 70s to around 80 and chilly jacket weather nights. The next chance of scattered showers and maybe some thunderstorms by late Saturday night into Sunday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Whether you're buying a home or auto or consolidating debt, CB&S Bank's personal loans get you where you need to go. Go to cbsbank.com to find a location near you or apply online today. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
On FM, on your smartphone, and online, the River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Joey Clark. And as promised, we have the GOP chairman in the state of Alabama, as well as chairman of the Alabama Public Library Service. We have John Wall on the phone joining us. John, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well. It's good to be on the show.
Great to have you on. So I want to start with this new amendment for the Alabama Public Library Services service. And let me just quote the amendment and what it says to folks. It says, under this section, any material that promotes, encourages, or positively depicts transgender procedures, gender ideology, or the concept of more than two biological genders shall be considered inappropriate for children and youth. So y'all have put this out to the public. What's been the response from the public?
Oh, look, the response has been incredible. We had over 8,000 written comments back to the APLS board. The vast majority of those, over 6,000 of those being in support. About 80% of the comments received back supporting this code change. And I think it goes to the common sense aspect of this that so many on the left miss, and that's that Alabama parents and parents across the country just want to let our children be children again. They don't want these social agendas. They don't want to have to worry about their child in the library stumbling across a book that encourages them to change their gender or tell them there's more than two genders. Like, I know this is probably politically incorrect, but I think it's pretty common sense that scientifically we know there's only two, male and female, period. and that's it. So that's what the State Library Board is standing for. We're going to continue to work on this and have had an amazing response from the people of Alabama.
Now, y'all had some folks meet at the board meeting yesterday, I believe, and fairly animated response. But was even with some of the discord from the small minority, was it at least somewhat appropriate? Like we kept order there?
Look, we're talking about some extreme far left folks, and look, I get called everything from a Nazi to a book burner to somebody who supports censorship, and it basically goes into this: when some of these folks cannot win on a debate, and they know their policies are flawed, they resort to personal attacks. So we definitely had some of that yesterday, and that just comes with the territory. But I think overall, the comments were very clear. They were very concise from this perspective of this is common sense. Parents want it. Our children deserve to be protected. Since the beginning of time, society has protected children across cultures across the entire world. We have protected children from sexually explicit content. We've protected children from things that are hard. We protect them from drugs. We protect them from alcohol. We rate movies. And we just want to see the same thing done in Alabama libraries.
Here. And if I could broaden this out, it seems like I was shocked years ago as I started looking into this, that what you see in D.C., you also see in Alabama, where the unelected career bureaucrat class in so many of our public institutions act like they are the ones that are actually running the show. They are the ones that I went to school for it, and I'm knowledgeable on this. And so I'm wondering, especially as we maybe head into the next election cycle and we start talking about the future vision of the state, are there other, say, bureaucracies in the state that might be need some accountability from elected officials and from the people themselves?
Oh, 100%. And look, you just brought up a great point. Literally, that was one of the points some of the actual librarians who were there brought up. Like, the board should not be forcing them to make these decisions they knew because they have library degrees. And I was like, well, actually, the answer is parents know best what their children should be exposed to, not unelected bureaucrats, them, or even the APLS board, me as chairman. We shouldn't be making these decisions. The parents of Alabama should be. And that's what we've got to get government to across the board, right? And I think you're exactly right. Whether it's Washington, D.C., whether it's Alabama, maybe it's your local courthouse, the answer is return power to the people. And I think we're seeing a move. I know Donald Trump has made that a priority. I think 2026 is going to be a big year for Alabama politics as we look at, new governor, new elected officials. And I think this needs to be a campaign issue as we talk about downsizing government and returning control to the people.
Hear, hear. And now one issue that has been top of mind locally here, certainly, but also nationally with Trump's big push is crime. And of course, after that mass shooting in downtown Montgomery, that wasn't the first time I was paying attention to this, but it really just heightens exactly what happened. In particular, when I see, the owner of Ravello over there at the city council meeting saying, I've invested all this money. I do, big things for the city. It's a great meeting place. I went over there just to make a point the other day. Great place to eat. But I'm having to scrape and wash blood off the sidewalk in front of that. And it's these little moments that make you realize, okay, if we want to have a great capital city and a great downtown and all these things I think everybody wants, why aren't we more serious about the crime issue? And so I guess the question becomes, what can maybe the state do? Will the state continue to pursue what is already kind of a model with Max of the Montgomery Area Crime Suppression Unit? Talking to Catherine Robertson not that long ago, she's saying Birmingham's a little more complicated if you want to do something like that. But where do you see this going, the crime issue in the state?
Yeah, look, great question. And I think this goes back to two things. One, the fruit that we're experiencing right now with this increased crime, and then the heart of the issue. And I'll hit the surface here, what we're facing right now first. We absolutely have to make this a priority. And we see this across the country from Democrat mayors and city leaders where they defend criminals, easy release, easy bond. We just had one of the potential shooters from the Montgomery shooting released on bail. And I think we've got to get back to actually saying crime is a choice And if you choose to commit crime, you have to be held accountable. And we have to abandon this horrendously stupid idea of defunding the police or undermining our law enforcement and go back to law and order, just respecting people and their property and keeping our community safe. But all that being said, I think that the crime is the fruit of a much deeper issue, and that's our education system and our society as a whole not respecting human life, not teaching our children that life is sacred, personal responsibility, dignity, and so many things. When we've taken God out of our society, we've taken God out of our schools, and what's left is our children have a hole, because you can't take God out of humanity. It's part of our human experience, or it's spiritual. And I think that hole is left a lot of hopelessness. And there's a lot of people who fill that with maybe drugs or alcohol or violence or different things. And we have to address the underlying moral issue if we're going to solve the crime issue.
Yeah, and I've asked that question more and more, especially, I'll just be blunt, after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, there's something, I've been wrestling with these questions for a while, something stirred in me. And, I look at like the young kids and, you're 18, 19, you now are and should be tried as an adult. And even younger, if you commit a heinous crime, possibly you're going to be tried as an adult for doing an adult crime. But I wonder, when I look at, say, these kids, we can use that word, how many have actually been grafted into and onto a church? And I'm not even picking a denomination here. People fall away, even if they do have that good upbringing. Things happen, sin happens. But I do think at the end of the day, that's not the kids doing this, who are actually raised and brought into a family of faith. And that's what I wonder about in a city with hundreds of churches. Why is this still happening for too many? Yeah, no, look, and I love that you said, this has kind of been, there was an awakening with Charlie Kirk. It's been the same thing for me as I've really, as I felt this and I've known this, but I think it's important that we speak boldly about it, and we're not pushed to be politically correct. And I think the answer to our problems and so many of these societal issues, it's not politics. Look, as big as I'm Republican Party chairman, right? Right. I'm part of the political process. I think if we're going to restore this country, the Republican Party will be part of it, but it's much deeper. It really is a spiritual fight. It's a spiritual battle for the hearts and the souls and the minds of the people of our country, but especially our youth. And I think if we don't understand that, we don't engage at that level, we won't be able to actually address it. Now, on the practical political level, if the state does see fit to say, we got to do more on our end at the state government level to, if these local mayors and other folks are not going to cooperate, is the state prepared to put more resources into just more troopers, more just assets in general?
I think they have to be. And look, I wrote an op-ed about this just a week ago, and talked about, if Democrats are really committed to helping keep our community safer, they will embrace Donald Trump's help as well. Because crime affects people of all backgrounds, of all parties, and we should all be able to agree that government should be engaged in keeping our neighborhoods and our families safe. And I think it has to be a commitment at every level. And yeah, if the cities aren't doing their job, then I think it is not only the right, but the duty of the state and the federal government to get involved.
Now, I want to leave you with this, and it's a very general question. As we go into the 26th cycle, the governor's race is one thing with Coach. But when I look at, especially that U.S. Senate race, he vacated, and I look at many other races down the ballot that are statewide, looks like we are going to, at least for the GOP primary, have quite a competitive knockout, dragout. Now, I'm praying that it won't be too nasty, but it looks like this could be signs of a very healthy, competitive Republican Party going into 26.
Oh, absolutely. So there are so many races that are going to be a crowded field, and I encourage everyone out there, get involved. The primary process is where we're going to decide who the leaders of our state are for the next 4 years. And Alabama has a unique opportunity in 2026 to really shift and to become, my dream for Alabama is to see Alabama lead the nation when it comes to conservative principles. Be the first. I'm tired of following Florida and Ron DeSantis. I want it to be Alabama.
Here.
So get involved, find out who these candidates are, what they stand for, and support the bold champions who will make Alabama better.
Well, John, I really appreciate your time. If folks kind of just want to follow along what you're up to and what you're working on, how can they do so?
Yeah, well, we always like to stay involved. I and the party are both on all major social media at Alabama Republican Party. And then, of course, our website is algop.org.
Well, I appreciate it, John. We'll talk again soon. Thank you, sir.
Hey, always good to be on the show.
Again, that's Chairman, ALGOP Chairman John Wall, APLS Chairman John Wall. I always appreciate John's time. And, I find this is a fascinating conversation. It's certainly being had in conservative circles, but I hope it's being expanded to folks who aren't even that political. But after that assassination of Charlie Kirk, you know what? He has become a political symbol in many ways. But my biggest hope and prayer is that it is stirring, even if it means a little bit of discomfort and discord within, it's stirring something within people, even very political people, to realize there's only so much just governing authorities can do. And in fact, I think it's a sign of problems. Well, look, historically, when the church gets too much political power and becomes more a political institution, and you get some awful people who claim to be ruling in the name of God, we've seen that in history, certainly. But when you see a society that is relying more and more on political power, on government power, and all the fights that come with that political power, you got to wonder, is that a good sign for a society, for a community? And I don't think it is. How do we get out of this fully, completely? How do we have the perfect city, perfect state, perfect nation? Who knows? I think it's always going to be an imperfect process. But I'm hearing more and more from folks who do care and are very earnest about their politics, and they're trying to see things through from that angle. Realize, again, we have to get back to the root of the matter and actually start growing communities from that ground up in a way that grafts them into a larger family that isn't about Republicans, Democrats, or anything like that. And I think if people start thinking in that way, then our politics might be, our politics might be a little easier to deal with and less of a headache sometimes, especially the national scene. Now, I'm not naive. I mean, I've participated in it. A lot of folks have participated in it. It's the culture we got. It's the political culture that is ruling the day for the moment. So, again, it's a hope and a prayer. I didn't say Hail Mary. It's a hope and a prayer. Maybe we could say an Our Father together. But that's not an easy thing to do, because you can't pass a law to do it. You can't really even raise money to do it. You could maybe even build a new church and have all these great programs and stuff. But the thing is, it's a change of heart. And what we have to hope and pray is for more and more folks to feel that fire inside and to treat that fire of spirit with responsibility. Because I think there are a lot of people with a lot of fire and a lot of spirit. And then, well, sometimes the bigger the fire, the more dangerous it can become if you don't control it and use it responsibly. But I got to hit a break. That generally is an interesting takeaway. It's not just talking to John Wall. It's talking to a lot of very earnest, very hardworking people in politics who are starting to realize this is deeper maybe than it's a reminder that it's deeper than maybe we thought. Again, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. This is part of the program brought to you by Sweet Creek Farm Market. And there at Sweet Creek Farm Market, you got to get by there and see Reed Ingram. Great guy, but also he is the mind behind it, the man behind this great establishment we call Sweet Creek Farm Market. Just 2 miles south of Taylor Road on 231. You can always see what they got going on the Book of Faces. Just search Sweet Creek Farm Market on Facebook. And of course, they're a great spot to shop local. Get by and see Reed Ingram, buy up some of that local produce, fresh apples, pears, plums, lots and lots of pumpkins as we're now in the thick of the fall season. Every kind you can imagine, every kind of pumpkin, including like gourds, which I don't think are technically pumpkins, but they're kind of similar, maybe the same family. But they'll have new crop sweet potatoes, new crop pecans, however you say it. All pecan and peanut candies, chocolate-covered candies, delicious baked goods, big old cookies and cakes and pies, fresh eggs. They do it all there, folks. If you're looking for a great spot to shop local, or even just get some fall decor, it doesn't even have to be on the produce side. Get by Sweet Creek Farm Market, and be sure to find Reed Ingram and say, hey, I heard that Joey Clark fell on the radio talking about you. Wanted to stop by, shake your hand. We'll be right back after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Want that ride that is fun, affordable, and street legal? Check out ETG Outdoors in Montgomery. They have huge discounts on electric golf carts with many brand new units under 10 grand. New and used inventory, financing available, and they service what they sell. ETG Outdoors even provides lithium battery conversions and free delivery with purchase. Whether it's for the neighborhood, the farm, or just fun, ETG Outdoors, 7006 Vaughn Road, or online at etgoutdoors.com. Cruise smarter, drive electric. ETG Outdoors, your ride to freedom starts here.
Hi, this is Carl Schmidt, naturopath and owner of the Herb Shop. Listen every Saturday to Winning Wellness and learn from experts in different fields of science and technology how nutritional supplements can help you.
Listen to Winning Wellness every Saturday at 10 a.m.
When news happens, you'll hear about it first. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Josh Bottoms with Sons Kia of Montgomery. Josh, how you doing today, sir?
Man, I am doing great on this lovely, beautiful, sunny day. You know, it's my favorite time of the year.
Oh, likewise.
Buddy, you know, spring is beautiful. Spring is nice, but the fall, when you start cooling down, definitely my favorite time of the year.
Now, y'all still got construction going on, but more importantly, you got those sales going on?
Yes. So we do have the construction. They actually just poured the concrete yesterday, so now we have something to build off of. So watching that go up in the next few weeks, I had a call this morning about it. But yes, during that, you know, the service department is wide open. We've got some salute to the service. We've extended, that was for the oil changes. So we're doing half-price oil changes all through the end of the month. That's on any maker model. All you got to do is have a military ID, retired or active duty. And then on the front in the front of the house, we've got a lot of great things going on through the construction sale. I got brand new K5s and up to $3,000 off. I've got a Kia Sportage that you can lease for $399 a month. And it is not a base model Sportage. It is one of the ones that are fully loaded. And then probably to top it all off, I've got a 2026 Seltos, and we're making room for the 26s, so we got some great deals on the 25s, but this is actually a 2026 Kia Seltos that you can get for $269 a month.
Wow.
Yes. So y'all come see us on this side of the boulevard, or you can shop us online at www.sonskiamontgomery.com.
Well, and I'll say Sons is great across the board, but I drive a Kia. Great cars they're making. And so y'all get by there, check it out, especially with these great deals. And I always appreciate it, Josh.
All right, brother. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Again, that's Josh Bottoms with Sons Kia of Montgomery. Y'all go check them out and take advantage if you are in the market for a brand new vehicle. Yeah, sticking to this whole idea of, I think it has stirred more and more folks to speak boldly in regards to their faith and the faith of our forefathers. I found it quite interesting. Yesterday, Vice President JD Vance was in Israel. Did a press conference alongside Jared Kushner, Steve Witkoff. I believe this morning did a little bit of a press conference standing right next to Bibi Netanyahu. But at one point, JD Vance, decided to bring up something that I don't think I've ever heard a vice president or a president say in the context of a diplomatic mission to make sure and see through that this ceasefire and this peace process that has been put together, in particular by Witkoff and Kushner. Like, it's one thing to be there, say, I'm following through on the peace process, but for Vance to then throw in something like this makes me go, yeah, The times they are changing. Now, I know it makes certain people nervous. Like, I'm David French of the New York Times, and it's just making me nervous the more these Republicans talk about Jesus. Which is just fascinating how you get your potted plant conservative there at the Times, and all of a sudden, everybody who's, actually expressing their faith in their Lord Jesus Christ in a political setting is immediately suspect. But here's JD Vance doing just that at that press conference. Again, I don't remember. Maybe you could go back long enough in our history. Well, you would hear leaders talk this way, but here's Vice President Vance.
As a Christian, I think the world's Christians will know that this country, that this region of the world means a great deal to me. And at some point today, I hope to go, or at some point in the next couple of days, I should say, I hope to go to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which Christians believe is the site that Jesus Christ was crucified in. And I know that Christians have many titles for Jesus Christ, and one of them is the Prince of Peace. And I'd ask all people of faith, in particular my fellow Christians, to pray that the Prince of Peace can continue to work a miracle in this region of the world. I think that we have made incredible strides over the past week. We're going to have to make a lot more, but I think with your prayers, with God's providence, and with a very good team behind me, I think we're going to get it done. Thank you all.
Amen. And by the way, they already have started on Jen Psaki. Remember her? She was a press secretary or something for a little while. She's already saying that JD Vance is scarier than Trump. But in the same breath as they say he's scarier, he's also like weird. Something odd and off about the guy. And then spoken like a true awful, affluent white female liberal, Jen Psaki goes, and his wife must feel trapped. We need to save her. Yeah. Go ahead, liberal women. So more marital discord than your own. It's a low blow, I know, but come on. That's a crazy thing to say. Really crazy thing to say. But anyway, I love it when folks start saying he's scarier than Trump. Yes. Are y'all going to start treating Trump like this wonderful old grandfather of the nation 20 years from now? And, the good old days when you had the magnanimous Trump who helped rebuild the nation. Now we've got, again, another Nazi Republican jumping up. And it's just like, yeah, we remember how you called Bush Nazis. You've been calling people Nazis since Goldwater, at least. Goodness gracious. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Yeah, this is Overnight.
What's up?
I guess we're on this Bible tip, so I'm going to go with the forgiveness thing. I may be gullible, but this thing that's local with Watts, if we didn't know his last name, would he be getting hired? And what I mean by this is that if I looked at his credential set, and I'm thinking he was probably in his upper 40s or 50s when he got arrested.
He was probably his late 40s when he got arrested.
And, and never had any other crimes on his record. Will we be? And like I tell you, we had a guy. What was it? With Bobby Bright. It was a lawyer that had been what's the word I'm looking for? He had been when the lawyers get their license taken away.
Mm-hmm.
He had been disbarred. Don't you remember? We had a guy running our entertainment stuff downtown that was a friend of Bobby Bright that had been disbarred. He did a good job, if I remember, some of the best entertainment we had in a while.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. His name is his name, but it's also the nature of the fraud he was convicted of.
Yeah, it doesn't go with money. I get that. It doesn't go with money. I get that.
Right.
But I'm like...
Yeah, like, again, I want to reiterate, like, I wish most people the best. If you screwed up and you did the time, then, I wish him well. And I think he's a talented enough guy to find whatever employment. But it's also another thing to say that it's not just a private gig. It's like it's taxpayer money. So I can see why everybody's looking at this going, really?
No. I somewhat agree with you. But what I'm really looking at is I think it's more because of the name that we're getting all bent out of shape than because of what the person's done, what the person is. That's why I want to know the credential set. Is he supposed to be on paper some top flight lawyer or some top flight accountant or something? I mean, what's his actual credential set?
Honestly, I haven't looked at his CV, but I'd imagine, yes, actually, he's probably a very talented guy.
That's the stuff I would look at first and then worry about the name.
And I would. I don't necessarily agree because I think, again, it is sort of a. It's not just. Sorry, go ahead.
I know, but you do remember the disbarred lawyer we had working for us, right?
Honestly, I don't.
You don't remember that guy that worked for Bobby Bright?
I was a teenager then, man.
Oh, it's been that long ago? Oh, man. From what I remember, the guy had some issues with what he did with a client, and he got disbarred. And Bobby Bright had him running the riverfront, entertainment stuff.
Well,
and I remember he did
would,
a really good job.
Right, and I would say that this wouldn't be the first time somebody locally did political patronage. And a lot of folks say, oh, that's such a bad word. No, I'm not using cronyism. I'm saying the mayor is able to offer up certain jobs to people. And it wouldn't be the first time somebody in power get political patronage buddy there.
And the funny thing about something like that is you actually had a guy that was overqualified for the job in that job. Because, you know how much legal work's involved when you start doing entertainment and setting up contracts and all that kind of stuff. It was great to have a lawyer being able to do that stuff.
Yeah.
That's probably why it went so smoothly, because you had somebody who knew what they were doing and had done contract law and stuff. But so I'm not ready to just totally, say this is wrong. I get that it's a bad look. It's a really bad look.
Mm-hmm.
But I would rather know what his credential set was before we dismiss him. Because he could be something super, super good at that job,
Well, I don't even know why that job exists, but that's a whole other conversation. I appreciate it, man. I got to run.
All right, no problem.
272-9228. Y'all hold your horses. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. A man is in custody after crashing his car to the White House security perimeter last night. The case is under investigation. Vice President JD Vance holding out hope for a major peace deal that could affect the entire Middle East as he remains in Jerusalem, working with other U.S. representatives to try and make sure the current peace accord holds. Secretary of State Marco Rubio set to sit down with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Friday. Some good news for Republicans as they seek to maintain and even increase their majority in the Senate. Former Republican Senator John Sununu says he'll run next year for the Senate seat being vacated by Democrat Jeanne Shaheen. That used to be a seat until she ousted him back in 2008. It's been slow going on Wall Street. The Dow right now off 367 points. The S&P 500 off 61. This is SRN News.
Just hearing the word IRS can make people break out in a cold sweat. No one wants to deal with the IRS, and now you don't have to. The good news is Legal Tax Defense has been successfully negotiating with the IRS for more than 15 years. It doesn't matter how much you owe, whether it's $5,000 or $5 million. You deserve the best in the business on your side, and that is Legal Tax Defense. Even if you're working with someone else and just want a second opinion, there is no cost or obligation to call. They can prevent levies, liens, wage garnishments, even file back tax returns. And the best news about Legal Tax Defense is they won't take your case unless they know they will reduce or eliminate your tax debt. Call Legal Tax Defense right now for a free, no-risk consultation. 800-292-7875. 800-292-7875. You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain. 800-292-7875.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by McPhillips Schimbaum.
My name is Aaron Luck, a partner with the law firm of McPhillips Schimbaum. If you or someone in your family has been seriously injured by the negligence of someone else, call me directly.
262-1911. Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. Some really nice fall weather behind that little front that came through yesterday. Lots of sunshine today. High temperature probably only in the mid-70s with a low tonight in the lower 40s. Should be a nice breeze. Then mostly sunny Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with highs each day in the upper 70s to around 80 and chilly jacket weather nights. The next chance of scattered showers and maybe some thunderstorms by late Saturday night into Sunday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Ready to borrow smarter this season? Apply online in minutes at yourasecu.com. Call 334-270-9011 or visit your local branch today.
ASD Credit Union. Your life, your goals, your ASD.
Terms and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. The Montgomery County District Attorney is requesting a higher bond for a recently released downtown shootout suspect. 19-year-old Javoric Whiting was arrested last week and charged with one count of attempted murder in Montgomery's deadly October 4th mass shooting. Whiting was released Monday after making bail on a $60,000 bond. A Montgomery native has received U.S. Senate confirmation to a federal judgeship. Attorney Hal Moody was confirmed as federal district judge for the Northern District of Alabama on Tuesday. Moody was nominated by President Trump and received the most bipartisan support of any judicial nominee so far in the 119th Congress. A special town hall meeting was held Monday night in District 2, which covers much of North Montgomery. Public safety was the primary focus of the discussion. Police Chief Jim Grabois assured attendees that while his team remains fully focused on the October 4th mass shooting, officers are not neglecting other areas of the city. Grabois highlighted extra patrols are being conducted across every district in the city. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Attention business owners. Did you know that about 90% of employees and customers are unhappy when they walk into a dirty building? Let Janny King, the king of clean, keep your business pristine. Janny King's local franchise owners can handle your cleaning needs with reliable, hands-on cleaning solutions that deliver more than just a clean space. Janny King comes with regional support, which ensures consistency and quality, allowing you to focus on all the other needs of your business. Go to JannyKingCleans.com.
Janny King, the king of clean.
Welcome back, folks. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Austin Baranko with Invista Advisors. Hey, Austin, how you doing today?
Having a great Wednesday, Joey.
Oh, always good to hear. Now, you're still excited about India, right?
Very excited about India. Was on a phone call this morning with our India analyst out of New York, Anuj Agarwal, and we're trying to get access to some of these lesser known, smaller India companies that you can't really buy through our market. So we've got to access it through kind of various markets. And but he's given me his thesis, and it's really compelling. I'm sure you've seen Bessent in the news over the last couple of days talking about India, and what's going on there is, we had slapped a 50% tariff on India. They were at 25, but we had put a penalty of an additional 25% on them because of their purchase of Russian oil, which about 70% of all their energy comes from Russia. But under Trump's second term, they had brought their purchase of Russian, energy down to around 30%, and they're purchasing the rest out of Europe and the Middle East. And so a willingness to move more towards a Western standard with energy and kind of ignoring Russia as much as they are able to, I think has appeased, Trump's administration. And so I'm hearing and researching, that we may be bringing this tariff down to around 15 to 20%, which would be a significant reduction, a huge boom for our relationship with India. And so that's what's going on today. But the longer theme that I'm excited about is just their middle class is booming. They're primarily in poverty. They've got, I think, 1.4 billion citizens, and only 50 million of those have access to modern financial tools and credit. And so if you just think about giving, 1.35 billion people access to credit, even small lines of credit, the amount of economic development that can come out of that country from just the middle class is astounding. And so I'm really focusing on finding ways to invest in India that we have access to. So I'm fired up about that.
And again, folks, we're talking to Austin Baranko with Invista Advisors. He runs the brokerage desk over there at Invista Advisors, and it's just sort of hard work and research and insight that you can expect there with Austin. And of course, the entire team at Invest is ready to help you. And one side of what y'all do is not just the brokerage side. Let's talk about, in particular, insurance.
Yeah, no, it's a great point you bring up. And insurance is, something that we have been covering a lot in our financial reviews and plans. We treat every client to a plan before we make any investment decisions. And, a lot of people don't look at insurance as an investment, but, if used properly as an asset class, it can help mitigate taxes in an estate plan. It can help prevent erosion of, assets that you would pass on to your children in the case of a long-term care event where you're hospitalized or you have to have in-home service for the last 3 to 4 years of your life. If you don't have a plan like that in place, you're pulling out of pocket to cover it. So I just encourage listeners to think about, insurance, not in just a transactional way. Hey, I got term insurance. If it's 30 years, I pay a very minimal premium. If I die, my family's taken care of. Yes, that is a great function of it, but in a more sophisticated way that we're able to use it, we're using it to plug holes in ways that see asset erosion during your lifetime and help from a tax perspective when you die. And our guy, Aaron Kreit, who runs our insurance division, is fantastic at looking at old policies. So if you're listening and you've got insurance policies, whether they're term or whole life or universal variable, whatever type of insurance you have, if you haven't reviewed it in a while and you want a professional just to lay eyes on it and say, hey, this is great, it's solving a problem for you, or this is not great, here's something a little bit more modern that fits your need, I encourage you to give us a call, because our team, particularly Darren, is fantastic at helping people update their insurance needs.
Folks, you can always go yourself to investadvisors.com, but I take Austin's advice. Just call them up direct at 387-0094. And when you call them at 387-0094, be sure to say, hey, I heard Austin Branco on the radio with that Joey Clark fellow. I want to see what y'all can do for me.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Joey, and you have a great day.
Thank you, Austin. Again, that's Austin Branco with Invista Advisors.
The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. The opinions expressed in this material do not necessarily reflect the views of LPL Financial. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice is offered through Invista Advisors, registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back, folks. And in the studio for our monthly visit, we have City Councilman Andrew Szymanski. How you doing today, sir?
Doing very well. I'm excited to be here again, and excited that it's finally mostly starting to cool off, so that this New Englander can get some cooler air temperatures.
Oh, it is much nicer to wake up and it's 40-something degrees outside.
Oh, yeah.
I sleep much better.
Me too.
in this environment. So I want to start with the big stuff y'all were dealing with last night, and we had a long discussion. Many folks and a lot of different opinions out there in terms of what to do with Jackson Hospital.
Sure.
So what's your number one take on this? Kind of your takeaway from it?
Well, obviously we want to make sure that we have a robust healthcare system in Montgomery, and we have a lot of wonderful participants in that sphere. And what we did last night was part of a step forward to making sure that that Jackson Hospital has the opportunity to continue operating, to preserve the healthcare that they're providing, to be a partner in the healthcare network that we have here. Obviously, we have wonderful partners in Baptist Health and all of the other kind of health subsidiaries that are in the city. But that hospital plays a real role in our community. And so with the help of the county and the state and this group that's based in Georgia, I think what we did is position the hospital in a strong way for moving forward. Staying open.
So it's a joint plan where, because the mayor's explanation of his veto did make sense to me in terms of, by state law, the county needs to lead on this.
Yeah, so there was some discussion about what that could look like, and so when we did the override last night, what we were saying really is that this is a unique situation outside of whatever traditionally may have been done when it comes to approaching different aspects of healthcare. And really what the flexibility we gave ourselves is that we, could be up to $15 million that we would put into it. We did clarify that language in case there was talk about potential participation from the state, or that it may not cost what we thought it was. So we made sure that we gave ourselves a flexibility so that the city wasn't locked into necessarily, but that we were not pulling away from the agreement.
Okay.
And the other thing that I think that's important there too, and I was glad to see the county move forward that in the morning, because they had their meeting before ours, is that it really does show that this time around we've got some more collaborators at the table. If you remember last February or January when we were talking about the potential of the city backing the bond, $25 million, that was just us. And so I do applaud the county and the state for really recognizing how important healthcare is to Central Alabama. And by taking this step forward as a group, I think really sets us up in a better position.
Now, I mean, one thing in particular, I was talking to Dick Brubaker about it, is like, you got to have that hospital. It is crucial. But one part of this is like, are we going to get new management? Because who got us in this position? Who got the hospital in this position? And I'd imagine as a city leader, county leaders, you talk to state leaders, you talk to folks who just live here. You shouldn't be rewarding folks that got us into this mess.
Yeah, well, in part, that's what we've been trying to do this entire time, right? Obviously, the hospital has been going through bankruptcy filing. There is interest in the hospital being purchased. There's a new group that's come in and wants to kind of carry this thing forward. So the hospital, and one thing that's been confusing, and I've explained this to a couple of residents, is that the last meeting that we had this presentation by the Jackson group. They just coincidentally share the name Jackson, but it's actually a totally different group that's based out of Georgia that has done this, that has 21 different companies that make up their entity. And so, so it was our understanding that really as part of the bankruptcy filing, this does do that. It moves this into a new management sphere, new ownership sphere, and then also helps clear out some of the issues of bad debt that really got us into this situation over the last 10 to 20 years. And it's really unfortunate, because you look at that institution, how important it is to the community. The fact that we've been for the better part of 18 months in this discussion about what to do really kind of removes us from the reality, which is that they're providing vital health care to the river region.
Absolutely. Is there any sense of, okay, we got this momentum to try to get out of this ditch? Has anybody at any level of leadership brought up, okay, well, here's more long-term vision for healthcare? Because even when Jackson was running, we're still we could be doing better.
Yeah, there has been. And I actually probably about in the springtime after the initial bond discussion, there was a meeting that the Chamber of Commerce organized that kind of talking about what is a more comprehensive plan for healthcare in this area. What does that look like going forward? Because it is challenging. You've probably had conversations with your listeners about, especially in more rural areas, hospitals are closing. And one of the things that was really important, why collaboration was needed in this moment, is because something like 40% of the patients that go to Jackson Hospital aren't from the city of Montgomery. They're coming in from the surrounding counties and areas where there is no easy healthcare or hospital access. And so you have a great system in Baptist that's already here, but this one in Jackson, just like Baptist, is also taking in people that are not just local. And so that challenge isn't going to go away. We're not hearing about all of a sudden new hospitals yet. I think there's some potential that some of this may be an initiative that we hear about at the federal level. But until that time, these institutions that we have are really, really important, because that access is it's dwindling. And now it makes Montgomery as this hub really, really important.
Now, and I think you're right is in the larger discussion that in particular, like look at what the feds are fighting about with the shutdown.
Sure.
And I didn't know this until I heard Senator Britt say this, that all these spikes in premiums that are about to happen on the marketplace in Obamacare, the premium support they're talking about, arguing about, it only covers about 4% of that spike.
Sure.
And so it's just a general like brokenness. You get a lot of folks saying, well, we need this influx of Medicaid dollars in order to keep things afloat. And it's like, well, that's not a good sign just underneath. Yeah, we could float you for another year with billions from the federal government. And so this is just for fun. But knowing Trump, I think he might just, it would be hilarious if Trump comes out in favor of single payer, steals another Bernie Sanders thing and designates it Trump healthcare, or whatever he does, however he brands it. But the whole system, there is, it's being dragged down slowly but surely, and we're not controlling costs the way the promises were made, 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, well, and one of the things that I've learned in talking with people, I have been having discussions around this for the last year, but also my father was a physician for 35, 40 years. And so I've always had that kind of perspective. It's also about people, right? So not only is Jackson Hospital important because of the health care that it's provided, not only is Baptist important in all the subsidiaries because of what they provide, but there are a lot of people that live in our area that are employed at these places.
Yep.
And so making sure that we keep some stability in that area. Look, that figuring out how we're going to get healthcare costs is for an elected office way above mine. But it is important for people to remember that on top of the healthcare that's being provided, these are also our neighbors that are going to work there every day, who for the better part of a year have been standing on shaky ground, concerned about what this means for their futures, their family futures, their children's futures. And so, as I said, bringing some stability has been a high priority. That's why I was really glad that the leadership of the council coalesced all of us, that we had a unanimous agreement to override the veto, to look at this from the perspective of right now, this is the investment that we can make. We have the collaborators at the table. We don't need to delay this any longer. I know that there was some talk about further negotiations. One of the things that we had been told is that October 31st was kind of it. We didn't have much more time to negotiate. And so it feels like we did a really good thing last night. And I think my colleagues would agree.
Now, on the controversy of the mayor looking to hire at a stepped-up basis for a little over $120K a year, Donald Watkins Jr. I mean, generally your take, and I would love for you to make clear to the audience too, what sort of the role the city council would have in this stuff, or more should we be looking at the personnel board if people are upset about this? But also there's another angle here. I grew up here, born and raised, but I have to say my parents, I can't remember a single moment of them ever talking about local politics. Like they worked. She was a nurse. Dad ran his own consulting construction business, and it never came up. But as I've gotten a crash course being in talk radio over the last decade, you definitely hear about the Watkins family. You definitely, tied right there with the Reed family. I think Donald Watkins Sr. was on the city council here in Montgomery for the longest time. So I'm fascinated because you're a New Englander who's now laying down good roots and doing great things here in Alabama. I'd imagine you're kind of going like, some of this is, a caller made this point, it's the name and it's sort of the long history of this city being brought to bear beyond just this guy's a convicted felon and you're offering how much money for what position?
Yeah, well, I mean, my first reaction at the moment that I was first informed when somebody gave me a phone call about, being candid, I actually didn't recognize the name. And, I wasn't involved really in city politics other than being a voter until my predecessor and I had a long conversation about me running for the office. And so there's a couple things. One is that, the city council does not manage the personnel of the city. We have wonderful interactions with our department heads. Sometimes we get the opportunity, like on my ARPA projects, to work with other members of the city staff. And so, it's one of those things that I see from my perspective is more of an optics thing, is what I think I've had more than I had a lot of people that reached out that want to say, well, what are we going to do about it? And again, we have a personnel board. There's a process for the hiring. And I think, in general, it seems like the narrative doesn't sound great.
Yeah.
And that is a challenge. But I also want to make sure that no matter what happens when it comes to personnel, that those people, when they are in offices, that they are doing good work for the city. And that's really what's important here. Now, from what I understand, there's been a pause on that moving forward, and we'll monitor the personnel board. We had a big fight about the personnel board. If you remember, there was this week we had on the radio, we had this discussion about what's going to happen here, this idea of separating the personnel board, bringing it in-house at the city, what kind of the implications of that are. And so I think, at least from the optics and what I'm being told about this, that it looks like the personnel board is doing the job of questioning and wanting more information. And I thought it was really interesting when you looked at the comments. I think it was the WSFA article, maybe in WAK, that about one of the personnel board members. They said, we really want to look at this because we know that there are other departments that have been asking for raises. So outside of the hiring side of it, really it's the the fact that we were trying to move this thing a few steps up the ladder. At a very recent city council meeting back in September, you had 50, 60 members of the Montgomery Fire Department who said that they were asking us to provide the fire department with across the board raises, much like we did with the police department. And traditionally, as I've been told, again, this things that you learn is that that's always kind of been done hand in hand, that when you do one public safety outfit, when you do raises for one, you kind of do it for the other. Yeah. And the firefighter departments are, a great example. And you're seeing across the country too, other places where it is getting harder and harder to hire municipal workers. And so what message does it send to do this when you have, whether it be sanitation, parks and rec, public safety? So I think it's a challenging thing for the personnel board. And I'm glad that they have said, look, we're going to spend some time being thoughtful about this before we just move this thing forward.
Yeah. And I'm more, and this is maybe my bias or philosophy, like when I see something like small business development, like director, there's part of me going like, well, I've thought about maybe, starting my own thing, especially like writing and stuff. And maybe it's just the line of work and who I am. But there's part of me like, I would rather do it myself. I'll pay for the license and I'm going to start up the small business. I'll find funding somewhere else. I really don't want to go to the city of Montgomery to try to find help.
Yeah.
To start my small business. So I mean, what is the virtue of these it's underneath the whole Department of Economic Development, right? What's kind of the virtue of these departments?
Well, actually, when I was starting up my Hilltop project, that's exactly what we did, is that I didn't know how to turn, I've told people before, I ended up having to basically invest everything I had to make that project happen, along with my business partner at the time, Will O'Connor, still involved. We actually have a third partner now. But we went to the city and we went to the chamber and we said, look, we're just two idiots that have a vision and believe that the city can be great. And we keep hearing about all these wonderful programs. And there really wasn't that person or that department that was there to help somebody who, had a full-time job, but just had been dutiful with some of my resources and wanted to invest in and build something that I thought would be cool. I don't know how cool it turned out to be, but something cool. And so, that the virtue of that is that there are people like me that ask that question out loud. And if it's easy enough, relatively easy enough, then they'll go ahead and invest, especially on the side hustle side of things. And there's some people that definitely won't, and I understand that. Yeah. And so I do think there is some virtue. Now, we've seen a lot of great work coming out of the Community and Economic Development Department. We have seen the creation of the Small Business One-Stop Shop. We've seen, the Access Montgomery program that's provided some capital to businesses, some startup grants, some facade grants. And so you have this because you got to be competitive. And you look at downtown Wetumpka and Prattville, and you see they are getting better and better at putting small businesses into the hearts of their downtown. You look at Dexter Avenue right now and you go, there's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of open real estate. And so I think the merit of well-functioning economic development departments is that they can help bridge that and make it easier for people that want to do projects like this, have those come to fruition. In the same way the Chamber of Commerce just cooks and is doing amazing work putting out all of these industrial outfits out, especially in the Hope Hall area and East Montgomery. You have all of this because, as we've talked about before, we've got to be competitive in making people choose our city. And if it's easier to open up a small business in the surrounding municipalities, that's where people are going to do it. So overall, I think having departments that focus in on this are good and kind of are healthy for a city like Montgomery.
Now, shifting over obviously to the crime issue with the mass shooting,
sure,
downtown. Number one, it's incredibly frustrating. I know I'm not the only one to see one of the people arrested immediately out back on the streets, $60,000. And I guess what we'll all as Alabamians have a chance to vote on an expanded denials law is what I believe they're calling it.
Yes.
But I'll just be blunt. When I saw the chief of police, I think it's earnest in his job. Again, being blunt, half the time I'm watching a hostage video. I'm like, blink Morse code if you need to, man. When he says we have enough people, and I'm like, I see the crowds even before the shooting downtown. I'm like, no, you don't. And like the things I think Montgomery's police department could do with 100 more men and women would be better. Like, and it would make everybody's job a little bit easier. So I'm wondering, why are we not doing great with recruiting? Why are we not hitting, say, our budgeting standard or what we're projecting to budget for? I think it's 300 officers, 400 officers,
roughly.
Why are we falling short of that? Because again, I don't think it's y'all did the pay raises. We've talked at length about the incentive packages along with your salary. So what's the issue here?
Well, I'm not an expert, and I know that I just saw the chief yesterday at council. They are working extremely hard in all aspects of that department, and I don't. So I'm just going to give you a layman's my just kind of hypothesis, but I think I've been very intentional about looking at other places, and I have somebody that I know, a colleague in another municipality up in North Alabama, having the same. They're having the same conversation about this right now. And I don't know if it's necessarily, and I'm not trying to pass the buck on Montgomery, but I mean, it does seem to me that now more than ever, it is hard for places to recruit police officers. I was at the breast cancer awareness walk this morning, and I was happy because I met a new recruit who had the new recruit hat and polo on, young guy who's joining the police department. So I know that efforts are connecting with some clearly, and then we shouldn't shy away from it, is that it's just not producing. We're not producing 100 Montgomery police officers overnight. People keep telling me about, and I haven't spoke to the sheriff, so this is just hearsay, but from what I'm concerned, but it sounds like, the sheriff's department's having a little bit easier time in that I've heard, that there's a backlog of people waiting list. And I think one of the things that we're just going to have to figure out is how we use other outfits, whether it be, state police and ALEA, sheriff's department, to expand the collaborative policing that can make it so that we have the necessary numbers in the different areas and when we need them. I think the mass shooting, which was a terrible thing for a city at the tail end of what was a fabulous weekend for Montgomery, brings to bear not just numbers, but really kind of how we can make sure we don't have the same kind of loitering and, public intoxication issues and all the kind of different ingredients that made that as bad as it was. I'm not saying anything would have stopped that shooting, and I'm not saying, that, there aren't things to be learned from this, but you're right. It seems like every couple of months we come on here and we talk about the numbers issue. And, as I said, I'm not an expert. I've never been in the public safety sphere, only as a counselor. And it seems like it's a real challenge, but it's not for lack of effort. I will say it's definitely not for lack of effort. I have seen the reports on the classes and the graduation ceremonies. I have talked to plenty of other officers. It comes up at my community, my neighborhood association meetings, and I know that we have good people in position to make our department great. And I was really happy last night too that we're trying to come up with some of those creative solutions. We passed almost $1.5 million contract to bring in Traffic Serve, which is going to help with response times with minor traffic accidents, that takes officers off of having to respond to those. And so we're following the footsteps of other municipalities that are having the same problem.
Now, I know it came up with like, if we're not hitting that budgeting target, where's all that money going? What was sort of the settlement or say the agreement going forward with that?
Yeah, so that all that fallout, the way that the city, the way that we've budgeted and as it's explained to us is that obviously we take money, the windfall money that we have, take money that we're budgeting, and that goes into buying vehicles and repairs buildings and puts in new technology and upgrades all these different things. And so I hope that now that the budget is passed, that my colleagues and I are paying particular attention to exactly how, whatever that number is, how that is being directly invested in the city. We saw last night that we, because of the gas tax, have a lot more paving resources. That money that we have is dedicated for paving projects and some infrastructure projects, and we're already seeing the benefit of that. I've got 2 major roads that I'm so excited about that I will be announcing and talking more publicly about soon that are going to get paved in the beginning of next year, and that's going to be great. And so a lot of that, as it's been explained to us, is the money that gets invested into things that whether it be projects, city building infrastructure, vehicles, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. And it was brought up on the show yesterday with somebody else, but did y'all pass the limiting people during the open forum when they can talk to if you can't bring up the same issue but once in a quarter? And I'm wondering how exactly that would work, because it might be useful if somebody go, I'm talking about crime every time I come up, maybe I'll hit a different angle, but I'm not going to is that going to be stopped?
No. So it got pulled. But here's just to clarify, because at times you as a counselor, we don't have the public comment time is not as part of the YouTube, so people don't always see what that looks like. First off, it was never to stop anybody from coming and talking about anything that was on the agenda. So if you have agenda items, you come, you speak. It was told to me by people that have been on the council for a while that they added in this end of the meeting public comment section for people to come and talk about whatever they want to. If you want to come and talk about, your Beanie Baby collection, you'd be allowed to do so for 3 minutes at the end of the meeting. We sometimes get some people that want to come and talk about the same thing at every one of those public comments. So this was never going to pertain to the actual agenda. But we have a forum that gives the public an opportunity to interact with their elected officials. And while I understand that sometimes it may be a bit inconveniencing, if not at times, maybe a little annoying to hear certain things over and over again at the end of a meeting, that is a precedent that we had set. And I heard from a lot of constituents that said, look, it's a valuable opportunity for me to talk about. And if I feel like you're not listening, I'm going to come back and talk. And so I wasn't in support of it. Okay. I understood kind of some of the reason why it was put
I was
forward.
giving voice to the pro side of why you should do this, because I've seen some of the characters down there, but I are on where you decided to.
Yeah.
I think that's right. You need to have it. Even when it's like, okay, yes, we know you were promised that your signature bear Beanie Baby would accrue in value over time.
Yes.
What does that have to do with us?
Yeah.
You should have got a first edition holographic Charizard, woman.
I know. And that's like, I think that there was, I think sometimes what, not to speak too much about what's in our heads, but sometimes we may, there may be some instances where we roll our eyes a little bit, and then we kind of talk about it amongst the group. And I think, the idea of it came up was that, well, maybe we need a little bit less of that, but it was, and I do think the council president did a good job in addressing. We had a couple of people that were there to comment on that agenda item, clearly clarifying some of the confusion about this idea that we'd be censoring people or not letting them talk about agenda items, or if we carried an agenda item over, that they wouldn't be able to come back to the next meeting and talk on that agenda item. This was really just for the public comment section. But to answer your initial question, it was pulled off of the agenda. It was not voted on. And if there's a way for us to maybe figure out how to eliminate Beanie Baby talk, then we'll figure out a way to do that down in the future.
Got to hit a break here. First, this part of the program, in fact, the entire hour, folks, brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And they're at Alabama Home Mortgage. Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon are ready to help you whether you're looking to purchase a home, and they can walk you through that whole process. It all starts with pre-approval, and they'll walk with you every step of the way, all the way to closing day. And of course, if you're looking to refinance, and again, whether you're buying or refinancing with interest rates coming down, this could be the time where you refinance to deal with some of that debt hanging over your head or get down monthly costs. Maybe you're looking to invest in yourself, your property, your family. They can help you there at Alabama Home Mortgage. Just call them direct. Start the conversation at 567-4223. And that's 567-4223. Or you can visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. Do you want to get in with a comment or a question for counselor Szymanski? 272-9228. We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Hey guys, this is Todd Clark with River Region Contracting, your premier roofing contractor in Central Alabama. So remember the name, River Region Contracting, for all your roofing needs. We're not affiliated with any other roofing company in the River Region. We've been in the roofing business since 2005. We don't have to buy our leads, and we don't have to knock on doors when the storms come around. We have thousands of satisfied customers throughout Central Alabama. So call us at 334-356-8635. That's 334-356-8635.
Pumpkin spice latte season. More like Prattville Carpet Fall sale season, when you can buy a square foot of tile, luxury vinyl plank, or carpet for way less than a coffee that tastes like a candle. I'm talking $1.39 a square foot. That's way cheaper than the big box stores. And Prattville will throw in friendly, helpful customer service for free. That's the big difference.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Call us today for your free measurement. Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
Shop the fall sale now at PrattvilleCarpet.com.
This is David Ernest from the Health and Wealth Show, and if you can hear this, we want to come see you.
You heard right!
David Ernest and the crew from the Health and Wealth Show want to come to your town just to say hello. All you have to do is let them know who you are and where you are. It's as simple as that.
It can't be that simple.
Oh, yes, it is.
What do we have to do?
Write your name on the back of a $20 bill. Then, sorry, that's the wrong offer. If you would like David Ernest and the crew from the Health and Wealth Show to come visit you, call toll-free 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-SAFE. Tell us your name. Tell us where you are. Tell us your phone number. And maybe we'll come see you. If that method is not to your liking, get on Facebook. Go to Ernest Financial, Montgomery, Alabama. Click on the page. Then click on the pinned post at the top, and there's all the information you need. David Ernest wants to come see you. Brought to you by Ernest Financial, LLC, serving the community for over 40 years.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
I'm Jim Smith with Adams Drugs. At Adams Drugs, we offer a wide variety of services, including delivery, compounding, wellness clinics, and immunizations. Now is the time to visit any Adams Drugs location and get your flu shot. Getting an annual flu shot can help prevent you from getting the flu, reduce the severity of symptoms if you get the flu, and prevent serious complications such as hospitalization and death. Getting your flu shot at Adams Drugs protects you from getting sick, but it also makes sure that those around you, especially those at high risk, remain safe. Each year, up to 49 million people in the U.S. contract the flu. Depending on the flu virus's severity, deaths as a result of flu complications could skyrocket to 79,000 people nationwide. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for a location nearest you. Adams Drugs is your local, independently owned Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
For more than 50 years, the Tears family's been keeping the River region flowing with Roto-Rooter. From drain cleaning to septic repair and installation, no job's too big or too messy with a local team you can trust. So when water won't go where it's supposed to, call the hometown experts who've been serving Montgomery for over half a century. That's 272-7130. Or visit rotorooteralabama.com. And remember,
Call Roto-Rooter, that's the name. And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by Alabama Wholesale Lumber. It's more than just great prices on lumber. From Trex decking to energy-efficient windows and Tamco shingles, Alabama Wholesale Lumber has it all.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. Some really nice fall weather behind that little front that came through yesterday. Lots of sunshine today. High temperature probably only in the mid-70s with a low tonight in the lower 40s. Should be a nice breeze. Then mostly sunny Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with highs each day in the upper 70s to around 80 and chilly jacket weather nights. The next chance of scattered showers and maybe some thunderstorms by late Saturday night into Sunday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More has the best prices. Carpet as low as 69 cents per square foot. LVP starting at $1.29 a square foot. Sheet vinyl as low as 65 cents per square foot. And the lowest prices on flooring installation supplies. Budget Floors and More across from Delray to Publix.
The premier place the River Region turns to for news, weather, traffic, and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back. Again, we have City Councilman Andrew Szymanski here in the studio with me. We field some phone calls here, and if we have the time, I'd love to talk about just investment and maybe new businesses popping up. And like, I haven't been to Cloverdale in a second, and we can maybe get into all that.
Yeah.
But let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Hello.
Hey, who's this?
This is Love.
Hi.
I want to ask him a question.
Okay.
Number one, do you think the council people will ever fix it so the same people cannot get up there year after year after year and ask for money? That's number one. Number two, do you think we will ever have it where a police academy is rotated 1 year in a day, then the next year and at night? And the last question is, do you think y'all can stop people from parking and handicap? I know one state, they raised a lot of money by giving tickets to people who was in a handicap slot. I hang up and I listen. Thank y'all. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, Ms. Love, as always.
Thank you, Mama Love. Hope you're doing well. The third question you have is a great one about the handicap, because there is that's just one of those things where you could be having like the best Saturday afternoon, and then I walk into Publix and you just see somebody pull into a parking spot that is for handicapped individuals, and they don't have a sticker, and it's not my job to question, but it is a frustrating thing to see. And I would love to have a conversation about how we could make that more of a cost prohibitive thing for people to do, because those are there for a reason, and a very important reason. There was a question about the police academy rotating, and I don't know if you mean this. I'm wondering if she was referencing the Citizens Police Academy, because I'm pretty sure the Citizens Police Academy, which, Joey, I'll say, I have had I want to go through it myself. I know multiple people have gone through it. I know that Counselor Beard went through and said it was fabulous and eye-opening. And it's accessible to the public, and gives people really good insights into all aspects of policing here in the community, and is something that they're always pushing. And so I highly encourage people to do that. My guess is that she may have been asking, is there possible to do that during the daytime and the evening? Because right now I believe It's like every Monday or every other Monday, at like after work, like 5:30 or 6 p.m. for an hour and a half or so.
And then the first question was about the same people coming up and asking for money every year. I don't know if we're going to be stopping that.
Yeah, no, I think people are always going to, and it is something that I enjoy being able to do, is to use our contingency funds to invest in things that are having a positive impact on the city.
Let's go to line 2. You're on there. Who's this?
Hello.
Hey, you're on there. Who's this?
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. And if you've addressed this earlier, I apologize, but I've just gotten on to listen.
Okay.
But can you talk about, there was an item on the agenda last evening about the mayor giving authorization to the mayor to execute contracts without the council approval. Can you tell me where that is standing? As that it's truly a concern given the fact that our mayor has approved contracts here previously that went to speaking engagements for a political party that should not be taxpayer funded by the people in the city of Montgomery.
Yeah, we did not touch on this earlier. So just to give a little context, last November, I put forward a resolution that passed in the council, giving the council permission, giving council the job of approving contracts over $50,000. And that is essentially what we've been talking about this time around. The agenda item that you saw that was presented at the last council meeting was for there to go back to no limit. Now, this is, as was brought up in the council meeting last night, this is something that has never been done before. And as I said last night, that does not make this okay. You look across every major municipality, if not every municipality in the state of Alabama, whether it be Birmingham, Mobile, or others, that have this level of accountability and transparency. But it's not just a level of accountability and transparency. It is what is written into the act that created the mayor council government structure that we have. The council has the contract signing authority or approval authority that we in the past have granted to the mayor at no limit. Last year in November, we passed the ordinance that I proposed that capped that at $50,000. And I chose that number for a number of reasons. I looked back a couple of years at the contracts we had, wanted to make sure that we were not slowing down the efficiency of our government. We're a city that has a $350 million budget. Okay, so there's definitely a point at which where we may not need to be approving, a $1,000 contract for pencils, but if not that you necessarily use a contract for that, but you get what I'm saying. So last night in the meeting, it was brought up, and I offered up an amendment to the no limit to go back to the $50,000 that we had that I thought had been working well. And honestly, over the past year, there really weren't many contracts that we had seen. The one that you brought up was before that resolution was in place that we really had objection to. And just last night in the meeting, there was a $1.4 million contract for traffic serve, which we wanted more information about, which we honestly, yes, people say, well, you could go and go look at a contract, but this makes it easier. This makes it so that we have to look at this and then ask questions if we want to ask questions. And we had the chief come up and we had a wonderful conversation about it, a positive conversation about it. And we passed it because we knew it was a great tool to make sure that we could have fast responses when it comes to traffic accidents. So it's kind of my long-winded explanation of saying the item was tabled last night and it will be discussed at the next city council meeting. Mm-hmm. And this is where good debate can happen, where if people want to have a conversation about what level of oversight we as a council want to have on this matter, we can have that conversation. I told them that I thought that the $50,000 limit was more than fair if it's one of the higher ends for municipalities, if not the highest in the state. Still keeps us as an effective government and still gives us the ability to see how people's taxpayers are being dollars are being spent. And it got tabled until the next meeting. So far for the past couple of meetings, every contract has been on our agendas. And until we come to a resolution on this, every contract will be there, which again is a level of oversight that some people may think is good at the. I think that we could come to an agreement, and my starting number is $50,000.
I like it. Well, great question.
Well, yeah, and I appreciate the explanation and where you're coming from, and I get that. But I think for me, I grew up here in Montgomery, and I think for me, as a citizen now and as a taxpayer, there has to be some form of checks and balances.
Of
it
course.
has to be. Even in my job, if I travel for business purposes, I have to turn in receipts, an agenda, something to prove that I use the money appropriately. And so I think as a council, y'all should request the same thing. And I know you said that this was before this amendment went into place that you said for $50,000. However, when you sign a contract to go on a speaking fee and you come to the media and you say, oh, well, it was to help kind of build support for the city of Montgomery, of getting people to come to Montgomery.
Promote the city, yeah.
Yes. I need to see what you did. I need to see numbers. I need to see who you talked to. I need to know. Because otherwise, that's just a line of crap. I'm just going to be honest with you.
Well, and that's why, last night, it was pointed out that this has never been done for any other mayor previously. I've only been on the council for under 2 years now. I've not been a council member before. And I said in the meeting, I said, that is an indictment on past councils for not asking for that level of oversight, regardless of who's in the office. It's very clear how this was designated to be in the council's purview. And I think, and then maybe I'm just a crazy, naive new councilor, but this is a level of oversight that I think my residents and constituents enjoy and is broadly wanted across the city. And so we did a thing, and now there's debate about it now. And my hope is that my colleagues join me and agree that we need to bring this back. And as I said, my starting number is $50,000.
You're here. Well, I appreciate the call, ma'am. I got to run.
Okay, appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we actually have like 3 minutes here. So real quick, I've been seeing, somebody sent me a photo. They're sitting out on a brand new deck at one of the establishments down in Cloverdale, like the whole patio area. And I'm like, yeah, I got to go see that. But there's more happening in that particular part of the city.
Yeah, fabulous project. The Cloverdale Village project that is being done is getting closer and closer. And the residents are really excited about it. Those buildings sat blighted and decrepit for many, many years. And I was really appreciative of the city coming together, the mayor and the economic development team coming up with an incentive package that really kind of set that project off and made it viable. Those buildings needed a ton of help. And we've got 3 great businesses that I know of. One, I think we publicly are definitely saying now with Big Bad Breakfast coming to Montgomery. I've been to Big Bad Breakfast in Birmingham before. And so to have them coming here is fabulous news. And there's 2 other ones I want to make sure I'm allowed to say out loud before I do, but they're going to be great locally owned businesses as well. And it's a good model for what we can see in other places. I've been talking a lot about Normandale. We're spending a lot of time right now rebuilding the neighborhood association over in the Edie Nixon and Rosa Parks area by the Cleveland Avenue Y. The Fairview project has come to a completion. And honestly, I think one of the greatest things that we've gotten done in 7, which is really exciting, is we did this wonderful paving project on Norman Bridge Road in between Carter Hill and Fairview, where we used to have this very dangerous center racetrack lane. There's kind of a common term we use in the neighborhood, I won't say on air, for what that thing was. And that's been completely redone. Huge props to the public works, traffic engineering, street maintenance, paving crews, everybody that got out there, redesigned the way that road is done, and with new asphalt down. So District 7 is cooking, and we should have the Floyd campus master plan done pretty soon. The city economic development team has redubbed our ARPA projects as the Midtown revitalization project. So there are some really big numbers and some really exciting things that are happening in 7 that hopefully will be a model for ways we can do modern creative investment across the city going forward.
Not to put you on the spot, but this will be the last thing. And I don't even mean in the next year, but your name's come up. A lot of people behind the scenes call me saying, would Andrew ever want to run for mayor? You ever be interested?
I right now, I love being on the council, and I'm new to this, and there's a lot to learn, and I try not to get out ahead of where I think I can reasonably invest my time and energy. And 7 has been an amazing, amazing experience. I also, as many people don't realize, whether it be we just opened up a new small business in downtown, Ricky's, the new sports bar, pinball, pool, and all that kind of stuff. So I've got 2 small businesses, and I've got a full-time job as the executive director of the Alabama Scenic River Trail, which I love. We're doing a huge project up in the Decatur area. And so I'm honored when people, bring that up, and I hope it shows. I hope people are asked that because they see that I'm working hard on behalf of my district. And but for right now, I think we're doing a lot of really good work in 7.
No, that's why I think there's just a lot of folks who like the work you are doing. And did you hear that, folks? He was very humble. He said it's like maybe we're seeing the Davidic servant's heart there or something.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, always great to see you.
Always great to see you.
And we'll be right back. Final hour coming up. I'll start yelling about something.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. Vice President Vance met today with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Israel's president, and other high-ranking officials to discuss what's next for the Gaza peace accords. The vice president says his mission to Israel was no spur-of-the-moment thing. They've actually been planning it for months. It happens to coincide with the current ceasefire. Secretary of State Marco Rubio will be paying a visit to Israel on Friday. He'll sit down with the prime minister as well. President Trump looking to end Russia's war in Ukraine, but now says it is pointless for him to sit down and hold talks with Vladimir Putin. So those talks that had been scheduled for Budapest are now on hold. Drones continue to play a devastating role in Russia's invasion in Ukraine. There was a large-scale Russian drone and missile attack across the country. It left at least 6 people dead. On Wall Street, a losing session so far. The Dow right now down 360 points. More on these stories at srnnews.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates, real solutions for real people.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by McPhillips Schimbaum.
My name is Aaron Luck, a partner with the law firm of McPhillips Schimbaum. If you or someone in your family has been seriously injured by the negligence of someone else, call me directly.
262-1911. Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. Some really nice fall weather behind that little front that came through yesterday. Lots of sunshine today. High temperature probably only in the mid-70s with a low tonight in the lower 40s. Should be a nice breeze. Then mostly sunny Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with highs each day in the upper 70s to around 80 and chilly jacket weather nights. The next chance of scattered showers and maybe some thunderstorms by late Saturday night into Sunday. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Ready to borrow smarter this season? Apply online in minutes at yourasecu.com. Call 334-270-9011 or visit your local branch today.
ASD Credit Union. Your life, your goals, your ASD.
Terms and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
1819 News.
U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville continues to sound the alarm on radical Islam and Sharia law here in the U.S. Tuberville was a guest on the Laura Loomer podcast talking about his efforts within Congress to seek legislation that would ban the practice of Sharia law.
these Islamic terrorists coming into this country and trying to take over our country, because that's exactly what they're doing. But we have to really make sure that we understand we've got to get the information out there. Chip Roy's getting it out on the Senate, on the House side. I'm trying to get it on the floor of the Senate. They think they being the Muslim Brotherhood, the Sharia law evangelists, so to speak, they're the ones that they know that this is their time. If they're going to ever make a push in the United States, which is the Big Apple, they've already got Europe. Most of Europe, they've got a lot of the world, but they want the United States for America, because if they ever get the United States, the whole country, the whole world will be in trouble.
I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Are you enjoying 1819 News? If so, consider joining 1819 News as a member. As a nonprofit news organization, we depend on the support of Alabamians like you. Memberships start out as little as $5 a month, and you'll get access to exclusive content only offered to our members. You'll be supporting independent journalism done by people who cherish Alabama values. Become a member today by visiting 1819news.com and clicking Become a Member. That's 1819news.com and click Become a Member today.
A former Blount County sergeant has been sentenced to 10 years in prison for assault of an inmate back in 2022. Joseph Snow was found guilty of slamming Jonathan Calloway's head into the wall at the Blount County Correctional Facility while Snow was on duty. The actions of Snow were caught on video. I'm Andrea Tyson.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Folks, let's go right to the phones. Talk to Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, life is good. I am liking the change in the weather. I think this is the best time of year when it's actually fall in Alabama. But what's the score there today at Cohen's?
Like 21 to zip.
Nice.
Had a nice customer that came in. And we had sold him some televisions and some appliances probably 10 or 12 years ago, and he's ready to make an upgrade. And so, the first question is he wanted to make sure I still had my same installer. And then secondly, we wanted to figure out how to put the 55-inch in the bedroom, put an articulating bracket on it so it can be in the corner, and then sell him a nice new TV for his great room, which ended up being a 77-inch Samsung OLED.
Oh, nice.
And then we're probably going to end up taking his old sound bar to the bedroom and then selling him at least one new Sonos sound bar and subwoofer for the great room. So anyway, it works out good. And, he came in, we went over a lot of stuff on the phone, but he came in to take a look at it, bring his wife by to make sure everybody was happy. And that was yesterday, and we had some stuff that got changed around on us. And anyway, Michael Jackson was out there this morning at 9 o'clock getting him installed, and he ought to be watching TV by now.
Well, and it's a testament to so much of what you say often on these calls, like folks asking, is Michael Jackson still there? He's that good. And then just seeing people return. And when you have customers returning a decade later, it really does show the level of service there, folks. So y'all get by there today. I mean, you can always peruse at home at thinkcohens.com, but get by the Boulevard, 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery, open 9 to 6 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And find Michael and ask him, what the heck do y'all mean by what's the score today at Cohen's? But you got to go ask him to find out.
That's right. But the other thing, you talk about how long Michael Jackson's been here. He's been here probably about 18, 19 years. The other guy that works up front, Mark, has been here about that long as well. And then the guy that works part-time has been here probably since 97. And then my appliance people have been here, at minimum 12 years and probably up to 20. So, you get to see the same people, and that's an incentive for everybody to be upfront and honest. And nobody's trying to pull any games. Everybody's trying to do what they're supposed to do and take care of the customer so that you will ask for them on the next time. And if you don't, they're still going to be there and have to face you. So, everybody's on the right page trying to give the best service.
Well, I love it. And I always appreciate your time, Michael. And folks, y'all get by there. Say hi to him.
Have a great day. Take care.
You too. Again, that's Michael Cohen with Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. We'll be right back.
Want that ride that is fun, affordable, and street legal? Check out ETG Outdoors in Montgomery. They have huge discounts on electric golf carts with many brand new units under 10 grand. New and used inventory, financing available, and they service what they sell. ETG Outdoors even provides lithium battery conversions and free delivery with purchase. Whether it's for the neighborhood, the farm, or just fun, ETG Outdoors, 7006 Vaughn Road, or online at etgoutdoors.com. Cruise smarter, drive electric. ETG Outdoors, your ride to freedom starts here.
Don't you love the feeling of coming home to a clean house? Let Southern Bell's cleaning service get your home in order. Families in the River region trust Southern Bell's because they know Callan and Jesse will show up on time and believe in cleaning the old-fashioned way. They bring all their own supplies and specialize in full-service, residential, commercial, vacant properties, and construction cleanup. Estimates are always free. Call Southern Bells today at 546-0715 or follow them on Facebook at Southern Bells Cleaning River Region.
Hi, I'm Jane Ray, account executive with Blue Water Broadcasting. Why should you advertise with us? Radio is an active medium. It can create immediacy, driving shoppers to a specific store, brand, or to take a specific action. Radio ads engage with the audience in a personal and unique way. Contact me, Jane Ray, by going to bluewaterbroadcasting.com to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Experience the magic of the holiday season with a cruise down the Alabama River on the Harriet II, the finest entertainment spot in the river region. Take in the stunning skyline and enjoy the sights and sounds with friends and family. Book your holiday cruise today at funinmontgomery.com. Your holiday will be magical when you cruise the Alabama River on the Harriet II, the best place to entertain your coworkers, friends, and family. The stunning skyline and the sights and sounds will make your party the best. Book your holiday cruise today at funinmontgomery.com.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I'm your host, Joey Clark. And I'm just now looking at an updated 1819news.com homepage, and one of the top stories there, written up by Caleb Taylor. What's up, Caleb? Doing great work, man. But Montgomery Mayor Stephen Reed to push local gun reform legislation in the 2026 session. State lawmakers should pass gun reform local legislation specific to Montgomery, according to Montgomery Mayor Stephen Reed. Reed told attendees of Montgomery Area Chamber of Commerce gathered on Wednesday that he will ask Montgomery's local legislative delegation to introduce quote-unquote common sense gun reform local legislation. Reed has previously been critical of Alabama's constitutional carry law. The law is supported by Second Amendment advocates. It allows citizens to possess a firearm without a permit or license. If common sense gun reform doesn't make sense for the state of Alabama, then let's make it make sense for Montgomery. I don't think everybody should have the right to carry. I don't think we should have permitless gun laws here, Reed said. Local legislation only affects specific municipalities or counties, unlike other bills that have a statewide impact. We'll work with the Speaker's office. We'll work with the Senate Pro Tem, Lieutenant Governor, and Governor to make this make sense, but we cannot continue to go around pointing fingers about this without coming up with solutions. If urban communities are where the problem is, let's address the problem where it is with solutions that may make sense. Maybe it doesn't fit Monroe County, but maybe it fits Montgomery. I have a sense there might be a conversation there, but generally speaking, the state lawmakers are going to be looking at that a bit skeptically, I can imagine. But also, like you see these crime issues in other blue cities, other blue dots that have states that are blue states. And there's all sorts of common sense gun restrictions. And honestly, like you write all these laws, if you don't have the police personnel to back them up, what are you even doing? Seriously. If you don't have the personnel to actually enforce these laws, what good are they? And I'm sorry, you can sit there and say, oh, it's all pointing fingers. Yeah, it's because a lot of people are pointing fingers at you, Mr. Mayor. And it's not a dollar cents thing. It's not a quantitative thing. Like, let's look at the stats. Let's look at the graph. Let's look at the chart. It's not even, to me, a policy thing. I think it's a people thing. I think it is a lack of quality relationships. And if the city has a bad CEO, if a kingdom has a bad king, maybe he's not a tyrant, but he's seemingly not building the relationships he should, especially this chasm between the mayor's office and the larger law enforcement community, as well as how many times has this mayor met with other local mayors in the River Region area? What is the regular conversation like? Now, I have no interest to sit here and micromanage Mayor Reed's life and how you network and how you build these relationships. But I think that's what the problem is. That we can sit here and point to new laws. We can point to new policies. We can point to the charts, the graph, and yada, yada, yada. We can point to past sins of past administrations at the local and state level. But I think there is a qualitative problem when it comes to the relationships and the actual communications that are being done by the so-called leader of this city. Can I prove it? Well, you can't really prove qualitative things in that regard, right? But honestly, it's at a certain point, it just makes common sense. And the best thing that could happen to this city is if the current mayor gets real competition. Maybe he can overcome that competition, but he deserves the competition nonetheless. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Good afternoon, my friend Joey. This is
Hey, Babs. How are you?
100% I agree with everything you said, but I would like to ask a question. How many of those young shooters downtown Montgomery had a license to carry? Do we know?
I mean, I'd imagine none of them. I don't know, but
Exactly. So I don't know anything else to add to what you just said because you nailed it. But that's my question. That the bad people are going to get guns illegally, and the rest of us can do it legally, and that's just the way it is. Thanks, bud.
appreciate you, Babs.
Love your show.
Love you more. Thanks,
Catch
Babs.
you later.
Bye. 272-9228. Now, I want to read somebody else's op-ed. I don't normally do this, but sometimes it's called for. And in this case, I'm talking about United States Senator Tommy Tuberville has an op-ed out called Lock the Clock. I agree. Before we go to that, though, let's see who this is calling in. You're on there. Who's this?
Kelly.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to know how many of those young shooters in Montgomery are even old enough to be carrying a gun.
A lot of them aren't old enough.
Yeah, so where are they getting them?
Because it's readily available to anybody. Like, I mean, it's like, come on. You know, it's out there. The black market for all that is very rich.
Well, we need to find out who's supplying them guns and go after them.
And that's the thing is, like, people often focus on how could a kid or how could a teenager do something like this. And I think, I mean, parts, the kid's been raised by the streets. He doesn't have a home. But then sometimes some of these homes and some of the adults running the show behind the scenes, they use these kids to work for them because, well, say it's not as stringent in how they're punished because they're minors. I would start looking more and more at the adults that are actually running the show, because I find a hard time that a 14 or 15-year-old goes and, you know, easily finds a firearm. Somebody else, to your point, is providing it.
Right. It all starts at home, Joey.
Amen. It really does. And you got to wonder how many of these kids, and I don't care what denomination, you know, maybe we could have one of those theological debates one day, but how many of these kids have been actually grafted into a loving church family? That's a good question to ask. Maybe some people tried and it didn't take. It happens. Generally speaking, you got to even wonder, did you try? Because there is something about when it's not a lecture on the radio and it's not a government official saying a thing, whether it's the governor or the mayor or anybody else. That's not necessarily what reaches people. What reaches kids in particular is you are surrounded not only by your direct family, but a larger family of faith. This is how I was raised. That shows you how to live by example. They will know our fruits by our love. And you got to wonder, what are the examples that are actually being shared? It's a shame. 272-9228. But here, Coach, United States Senator Tommy Tuberville says, lock the clock. It's that time of year again. It's just a few short weeks away. Alabamians will once again be forced to change their clocks in the middle of the night. On November 2nd, we will all wake up and, quote unquote, fall back out of daylight saving time. In the 5 years I have served in the Senate, writes Coach Tuberville, making daylight saving time permanent is the number one issue I hear about. A lot of folks have asked me over the years, why do we even have daylight saving time? DST was first introduced during World War I and then used again during World War II as a temporary way to help conserve fuel and energy. Following the end of both world wars, the decision to spring forward and fall back was returned to individual states. It wasn't until 1966 when the system of changing our clocks twice a year was made permanent. Changing our clocks twice a year might have made sense in the 60s, but we aren't the same country we were back then, writes Coach Tuberville. Thanks to technology, farming, manufacturing, and other industries look entirely different today. The twice a year time change, just doesn't make any sense. And hasn't for a long time. Changing our clocks twice a year isn't just outdated, it's also dangerous. Northwestern medicine found the practice of falling back and springing forward are both connected to a 6% spike in fatal car accidents and a 24% higher risk of heart attacks. Changing clocks disrupts sleep patterns, and it means it is darker much earlier in the day, which can have fatal consequences. The time switch in the fall can also negatively impact people's physical health. The long-term health effects linked to changing our clocks include weight gain, cluster headaches, and depression. It also increases seasonal affective disorder every single year, which causes many Americans to feel depressed. Thanks to RFK Jr.'s great work at HHS, writes Coach Tuberville, a lot of Americans are taking their health more seriously by eating healthier ingredients, getting more exercise, and prioritizing sleep. As a founding member of the Senate Make America Healthy Again caucus, I am extremely passionate about improving the health of all Americans. The back and forth switching of our clocks is the exact opposite of the MAHA movement. It is bad for our sleep, nutrition, and overall health. If we were to make daylight saving time permanent, Americans would enjoy an extra hour of sunlight in the evening. This may not seem like a big change, but it would make a difference in the lives of many Alabamians. No one wants to walk home at 4:45 p.m. during the winter in the pitch black dark. It's depressing, and it makes it difficult to be active outside after work. As a dad, writes Coach Tuberville, I always love spending time throwing the ball around with my two boys outside. An extra hour of sunlight in the evening would give every parent more time outdoors with the kids. Kids don't need to be inside playing video games. They need to be outside, being active after school. Locking the clock is an important first step to helping Americans of all ages live longer, healthier lives. It would also be a huge benefit for the economy, writes Coach Tuberville. Studies have shown that longer days mean more people are going out to eat, shopping in the evenings, and supporting local businesses, stimulating local economies. I know our farmers would love an extra hour of sunlight. More sunlight means more time that can be spent making a profit in the fields and providing food to put on our tables. It's also safer during daylight saving time. Studies from Stanford University and the Brookings Institution have shown crime plummets when daylight standard time ends. Reports of robberies fall by 27%, murder falls by 48%, and rape falls by 56%. It should be a no-brainer. Coach Tuberville finishes with this. Locking the clock would be a massive win for our country. A permanent year-round daylight savings time is not only healthier and safer for Alabamians, but better for our economy than switching back and forth twice a year. I'm proud that Alabama has led the charge and has already passed state legislation that would lock the clock permanently. It's time for the federal government to follow the lead of the majority of the states and lock the clock. It's time for America to move forward and stop falling back. Again, that is an op-ed just out there at 1819news.com by Coach Tommy Tuberville, most likely your future governor. Again, 272-9228. I know he's been on that issue for a while now, and I've gotten to where I agree with him. I hate the falling back. I seriously hate it. I hate the forward too. It's just it screws up. It does screw up your sleep rhythms and patterns. And yeah, you power through it. And we've all been living that way since 1966. But it doesn't have to be that way. And what's fascinating is the more I think the Make America Healthy Again movement, and just generally the health conscious side of our society that's always looking for the newest thing to help improve health outcomes and just quality of life, you're starting to learn more and more, in particular, how important sleep is, like good quality sleep. And we got enough problems, especially with the sleep apnea that's undiagnosed in so many Americans, and so many other issues like blue light and watching things on our phone or watching TV into the wee hours of the night. So many distractions, light, bells, and whistles. You add to that, we're changing the clocks again. What you end up with is, all those numbers Tuberville just laid out. Now, I'd imagine those studies are correlations, not causations. But there is something, too, in particular, like the basic rhythms and patterns we have that we get into. We got to stop messing with them. And actually, I think we'd be a healthier people for it. And just generally, we wouldn't have to deal with the hassle of having to switch and change all the clocks up. Seems like a waste of time and energy. At least to me, it strikes me that way. Again, 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Now, I don't know if it's true, so consider the source. But TMZ stands by their story after a White House denial. Trump considering commuting Puff Daddy's Diddy sentence, possibly this week. Okay, Trump, if you're going to do that, you got to mention baby oil in some way. If he's going to do that, if he's going to let Diddy walk, he better bring up the baby oil in some way. But TMZ, by the way, is standing by. The White House comms office said, our story's not true. We stand by it. Our story's accurate. Saying Donald Trump is considering commuting Diddy's sentence as early as this week. According to our source, the president is vacillating on the commutation. We are told some of the White House staff are urging Trump not to commute Diddy's sentence, but our source states the obvious. Trump will do what he wants. And we're told Trump could set Diddy free as early as this week. Currently, Diddy is serving a 50-month prison sentence for violating the Mann Act. He served, that's with two N's, he served 13 months, and with credit, he could get out in around 2 years. But none of that matters if Trump commutes his sentence. But of course, as you know, Trump commuted the sentence of former Congressman George Santos. May he live forever. That serial liar is also fabulous. We know almost immediately after Diddy was sentenced earlier this month, his legal team was in touch with a high-ranking White House official who was the ear of the president regarding a commutation or pardon. Just days later, Trump told the media he was aware of the ask. Diddy fell out of Trump's graces when he supported Biden in 2020. But Trump did not slam the door shut on showing Diddy mercy. We're told it's now squarely on the table. Seriously, if you're going to do it, Donald, at least consider the baby oil. Now, I want to shift gears here. Earlier, I played Vice President Vance evoking the Prince of Peace and asking all faithful, but especially Christians, to pray that the Prince of Peace can continue to work his peace through the Holy Land. That was Vice President Vance there in Israel doing essentially on-the-ground legwork on how exactly is this ceasefire and peace process playing out. And honestly, the more I watch JD Vance, like I remember him when he first came out with the book, and he was on a lot of the conservative and even libertarian like think tank circuit, people that read books and talk in cursive and snooty ways. And I remember seeing him back then and always thought, no, he's a smart guy. I don't know about this guy, though, especially because he just seemed like he was part of the more cool kids club that was never Trump. But as you watch JD Vance and you actually learn about his life story, then you saw how he performed in the 2024 campaign. Like, what a, kick-ass pick by Donald Trump. And I believe Donald Trump Jr., went to the mat saying, you got to pick J.D. Vance. He's the man to pick. And when you saw Vance not only in the campaign trail doing those press conferences at rallies in front of huge crowds, also his performance on the debate stage against Tim Walz. Now, some of that might be going up against the Walz makes anybody look good. But I thought Vance had a presence. And when you see him on the Sunday talk shows or with the legacy dying liberal boomer media, he holds his own just fine with the likes of George Stephanopoulos and Margaret Brennan and all these others who try to twist him up and stuff. Dana Bash, he gives it back to her. And not to mention that Vance can go on podcasts like Joe Rogan and talk for 3 hours. And it doesn't sound like just political talking points. There's obviously going to be things where he's hiding the ball. That's what all politicians do. But the way the guy carries himself, how obviously and apparently intelligent he is. And then even some of the stuff they tried to leak to destroy Pete Hegseth, you see JD Vance in like that private signal chat. Vance is great behind the scenes. And then after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, Vance has set the tone in a way, more so than the president, speaking to a younger generation. And so without fail, you can take this to the bank. It's probably a iron law of American politics, at least. As soon as somebody rises to the fore and is really good at what they do, that's when folks will start to, we'll call him names. What did they try on the campaign trail? They tried, he's weird. Well, that fell flat. Jen Psaki. Psaki it to me, baby. Jen Psaki, I guess she's got a podcast, or she was on some Awfuls podcast. And by the way, Awfuls are, again, affluent white female liberals. She was on some awful podcast, and they get talking about J.D. Vance. And so they tried, he's weird. They tried to have Tim Walz say J.D. Vance is weird. Tim Walz. say that JD Vance is weird. But they've now moved to a new term. He's not weird. JD Vance is scary.
The little Manchurian candidate, JD Vance, wants to be president more than anything else.
Yeah.
I always wonder what's going on in the mind of his wife. Like, are you
Agreed.
okay? Please blink 4 times.
Yes.
We'll come over here. We'll save you.
You stupid harpies. You've ruined enough of your own marriages. Stop getting into other people's marriages. Dadgummit. There's a reason we call you awfuls. I just can't imagine what his wife's thinking. You know, it's like, you have no idea. You're not friends with the Vance family. But anyway, that's got to be the catty line of attack. But they go on to talk about how sinister and scary and stuff.
Manchurian candidate, JD Vance, wants to be president more than anything else.
Yeah.
I always wonder what's going on in the mind of his wife. Like, are you
Agreed.
okay? Please blink 4 times.
Yes.
We'll come over here. We'll save you. And that he's willing to do anything to get there. And that your whole iteration you just outlined, I mean, he's scarier in certain ways.
He's smarter.
In some ways. And he's young.
Yeah. And ambitious.
And agile in the sense that he is a chameleon who makes himself into whatever he thinks the audience wants to hear from him. Now, what's also true, though, is JD Vance.
Aren't those all things that, like, every politician that Jen Psaki has worked for try to do? So when somebody's really good at the job that you also do, then they're scary. And again, he's even scarier than Trump.
Vance is not, he's in some ways goodish on paper if you like what he believes in. I don't know. But I don't know that he can take the whole movement with him.
No way.
I don't think so either.
There's no riz.
It's got no riz.
Bald-head witches. Oh, yeah. Keep talking, Jen.
He just is a little odd. And so Trump's odd in a different way. So I'm skeptical of that. So yeah, he's got to, I mean, everything going on right now, and I think we have to be very clear-eyed about this, is about trying to manipulate the public around elections. And
Yes, right. Because again, y'all never did any of that. And that brings me to Bernie Sanders. When are these dumbass boomers, liberal boomers, and socialists like Bernie? I'm a democratic socialist. Bernie, do you believe in God? I believe in people. It's one of my favorite Bernie Sanders answers. Hey, Bernie, you believe in God? You're Jewish, ethnically Jewish, but do you believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? Like, do you believe in God, Bernie? Oh, I believe in people. I believe in people power. So I guess that's a no. But Bernie Sanders for 30 years has been saying that we're moving towards oligarchy. We're hurtling towards oligarchy. He's been saying it since 1993 that we're hurtling towards oligarchy. You don't believe me? Here he is. This is 1993.
Ours is moving very rapidly in the direction of oligarchy. The United States of America today is increasingly becoming an oligarchy. More and more moving toward an oligarchy.
That was 95. Now let's skip ahead. Oh, to the year I graduated high school, 07.
We are moving in the direction of oligarchy. We will move even more rapidly in the direction of an oligarchy. This great country is evolving into an oligarchic society.
2015.
It is called oligarchy, and that is the system we are rapidly moving toward. This is a budget that moves our country rapidly into the direction of oligarchy. A handful of billionaires are moving this entire planet toward an oligarchic society.
Start off with the bad news, which is pretty bad, and that is that under Donald Trump, this country is hurtling rapidly toward oligarchy.
Actually, what's happening is the oligarchy that Bernie seemed to be all right with. Because what they always mean, the socialist, is they mean plutocracy. They mean plutocrats. These rich people are going to buy up all the politicians and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. But I believe in people. But we've been living under an oligarchy for a long time. Rule of the few. I went over this ad nauseum over the last few years. That you've had a ruling class, some in government, some outside of government, sometimes they're in media, sometimes they're in the university system. Sometimes they're even folks that went to college to get a degree in library studies. And they now want to teach your boy that he can chop off his penis and become a girl. Well, maybe he doesn't have to chop it off yet, but think about it, son. But we've been dealing with, again, the liberal boomer oligarchy that captured the imagination of folks through Hollywood and television for decades. That set the agenda of taste making when it was just the big three networks and just a few big papers. We are the arbiters of truth. We are the storytellers. We are the narrative builders of this nation. And do I need to explain to any conservative how the left took over universities? But we're moving towards oligarchy. Actually, Bernie, we're moving away from it. In fact, what Trump has done in the last 10 years is take the corrupt, failing liberal boomer oligarchy to task. The question is, has he actually changed it enough? Has he actually defeated it enough? Only time will tell there. But it does feel like something has changed, especially after the 24 election. And it feels the same way as we're in the middle of this shutdown. The oligarchy that used to be able to set the agenda, set the message, is now literally mocked and laughed at by this White House and by millions of people. And sometimes it's not even explicitly a Republican-Democrat thing. A lot of folks came out of COVID saying, you know what? I don't believe the oligarchy of experts. And so I'm not trying to pick on an old man, but why not? Like, it's one thing to say, I'm a democratic socialist, blah, 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 blah. But you're also a moron. Can't even get your terms straight. Now, ideally, our system is humming and is working great when all three forms of simple government, just go look up John Adams, but all three forms of simple government, monarchy, oligarchy, and democracy, work together. Think of them as fundamental forces of political nature. Even when you have a monarch, there are going to be his courtiers. They're going to be the assistants, the advisors all around him. Caesar can't run Rome just by his lonesome. He needs a bunch of folks there. And sometimes Caesar can't gain power unless he appeals directly to the people. Or you could go back to the founding of this nation before the new Constitution. There in 1789, you go to the Articles of Confederation. It was much more rough and tumble Athenian democracy. That's what we did start with. And it was kind of a mess. So we have entered into a government that tries to treat all these three, again, monarchy, oligarchy, and democracy, as fundamental forces of nature, seeing that if you got a pure monarchy, you could easily get a tyrant. And even if you got a good king, even if you got a good emperor like Marcus Aurelius, then that brilliant man gives it over to a sadistic moron son, Commodus, and ruins everything. I've learned all my Roman history from Ridley Scott. So it can be brittle. The Chinese are going to have this problem. The Russians are going to have this problem, definitely. When you are lean too autocratic, it's fragile. It also builds a lot of order. Let's just set it straight. most organizations, like businesses that really create things, that really innovate and get a job done, they're structured like monarchies. You have one person in charge. You might delegate, you might give tasks, but you have one vigorous executive in charge. Now, the beautiful thing is in the market, you can bring in accountability. You can bring in the board. We have all sorts of other good laws that the government passes to make sure CEOs, like the CEO of Chipotle, isn't poisoning the burritos. But also, when you get into, say, what I think we've been living under, an oligarchy for a long time, initially, it does great work. Oh, wonderful work. But over time, it becomes, well, disconnected from the people. It becomes so good at managing people's opinion, managing people's taste and thoughts, that it starts thinking, oh, we don't even have to listen to the people. We can always, and whether it's in Alabama or in Washington, D.C., this is a mindset. We pick the policy behind the scenes. We make the decision. Now go sell it to your constituents. This is what we're doing. It's not put your finger in the wind and see what the people are saying. And of course, again, the founding generation, in particular people like John Adams, used democracy as a bad word. Democratical. They thought of it as democracy is like when there's mayhem and rioting on the streets, that people mob power is how they understood it. So just when I hear somebody like Bernie Sanders say, we're hurtling towards an oligarchy, and we've been hurtling towards this oligarchy for 10, 20, 30 years, we've been heading toward the oligarchy, and now the oligarchs are almost got us. By the way, where most of the billionaire class are donating to your party, Bernie. Do you think Obamacare brought down the oligarchs? Think what Joe Biden and team came up with Build Back Better hurt the oligarchy? And so since this oligarchy has been sitting pretty for decades, it's become complacent. It's become incredibly corrupt. And what you need is a strong executive, an American president. I don't want a king either, but I do want a strong American president. We've had them before. I want someone who can change things by appealing to the people's will. Winning popular votes, winning elections in the midterms. Empower that executive with the will of the people to actually get stuff done. And you're seeing Trump them do some of this. But that's what's so strange. They're sitting there protesting last weekend. No kings. I'm a 60-something-year-old woman. I don't give a damn anymore. I'm postmenopausal. Let's go get a big inflatable penis costume and I'll wear it and scream about the no kings. No kings. And so while the awfuls are yelling about the no kings, you still got Bernie from 1993 to 2025. So heading towards oligarchy. It's a clown show. It's a clown show. And by the way, if you caught any of Trump in the Rose Garden yesterday at the lunch with all the United States senators, I don't think Trump and team are budging on this whole shutdown thing. I think they are rightfully saying, nope, we'll open the government. We'll talk healthcare, rising premiums, all this stuff when you actually open up the government. He's not budging on this at all. For instance, I have proof. This is Trump yesterday in the Rose Garden at that luncheon. What a beautiful place to have a meal and some fellowship. Let's listen in to the president.
Country would be bankrupt, and you're not going to have any kind of medical insurance. So with us, it's the opposite. And it's a great bill. We don't need any more. And I want to just say from the beginning, our message has been very, very simple. We will not be extorted on this crazy plot of theirs. They've done this before. Nobody has. You always vote for an extension. Chuck Schumer and the Senate Democrats need to vote for the clean, bipartisan CR and reopen our government. It's got to be reopened right now. We're not doing that. They are the obstructionists. And the reason they're doing it is because we're doing so well. We're doing well all over the world. We're doing well with the close to $20 trillion that I just told you about. It will be that number, but even if you take it down to over 17, that's a guarantee. We're doing well with everything. Car plants are pouring back into our country. AI plants, we're leading, we're dominating China right now in AI. And I did something that I think you'd like, because we have an old grid. It's a tired grid. It doesn't have the juice that you need to fire up these plants. You know, these plants will need more than double the energy.
And so you see this guy, and people are still baffled by how did this guy, what we thought was a comment entertainer, no, he's an executive. And you can say whatever you want about him, but he's the one who's pulled off, well, what we've seen in the last 10 years, where y'all are still yearning for the days of, oh, it was so wonderful when President Bartlett was on NBC. Anyway, I got to hit this break. First, this part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And if you're a man and you don't feel like yourself, you need to get by Montgomery Men's Health because they can help you out. I know a lot of fellas like to procrastinate, say, I don't need to see the doctor, or I can just tough it out. You're wrong. Procrastination is only going to make it worse. And don't jump online to some generic, expensive fix that doesn't fix anything at all. Instead, get by Montgomery Men's Health. Their urologists and providers there will tailor solutions specifically to your body and goals. Consultation, including blood work, is just $99 with results before you leave. Could be you have low T or maybe some other issue. They'll be on top of it. Again, procrastination is only going to make this worse, gentlemen. Y'all get in touch with them today at 440-3663. That's 440-3663, or visit MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book that appointment today.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage.
And I'm Madeline Cannon. It's true, rates aren't as low as they have been for the past couple of years, but there are still many homeowners that could benefit from refinancing their current mortgage. There are a lot of things in life that are out of our control, but your mortgage rate is not one of them. If you currently have an adjustable rate mortgage, then you owe it to yourself to give us a call.
Adjustable rate mortgages make sense for some people in stable markets, but in this wild, ever-changing rate environment, it only makes sense to secure a fixed interest rate. A fixed interest rate will give you the peace of mind that your rate is locked. Your rate will not be subject to change with the political and economic tides.
At Alabama Home Mortgage, you can personalize your term. We offer 8-year to 30-year mortgages and everything in between. Grab your mortgage statement and give us a call.
Call Alabama Home Mortgage, the #1 mortgage lender in Alabama, today at 567-4223, or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. That's Alabama Home Mortgage, because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
Rich Thomas Weather is brought to you by Alabama Wholesale Lumber. For tough, good-looking roofs, it's Tamco Shingles from Alabama Wholesale Lumber. For great folks and great prices, call Alabama Wholesale Lumber.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. We are enjoying a nice dose of some fall air with mostly clear skies tonight. A chilly night, overnight low temperature down to the lower 40s. Been a great string of days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, with plenty of sunshine and a high temperature in the upper 70s to near 80 each day. Some chilly jacket weather nights in the 40s, and the next chance of showers and storms by late Saturday night into Sunday as the next storm system approaches. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Budget Floors and More has the best prices. Carpet as low as 69 cents per square foot. LVP starting at $1.29 a square foot. Sheet vinyl as low as 65 cents per square foot. And the lowest prices on flooring installation supplies. Budget Floors and More across from Delray to Publix.
Visit Rich's Car Wash today and save money this year by joining their Unlimited Wash Club. A new year means new adventures, so keep your ride clean, dry, and shiny. Enjoy detailing perks included with your wash like towels, mat cleaners, air fresheners, and more. Get to Rich's Car Wash today or visit them online at richescarwash.com to sign up for their Unlimited Wash Club.
This is your roving reporter. Today I'm talking to a lion tamer. What up, Wild Kingdom? I see you're working with the big cats.
That's right, man. They're ferocious. Down, Garfield, are no tender victuals for you.
I'll bet you've made so much money that you've had to hire yourself a money man.
Yeah, man, and I've hired the best.
You mean the man who could quite possibly be the most beloved asset preservationist in the world.
That's right, man. David Ernest.
The money man with the money plan.
Yeah, Daddy-O, and you can call him toll-free at 833-596-7233.
And those last 4 digits spell out the word safe.
Yeah, man. Mr. Jinx, stop that. That's disgusting.
Tell me, how did you get into this business?
Well, my Uncle Claude, who was also a lion tamer, taught me everything I know.
And what was your Uncle Claude's last name?
Badly.
Claude Badley.
Yeah, excuse me. I gotta go scoop out the litter box.
Make sure you get that joke while you're at it.
At Guardian Credit Union, it's not just about the dollars and cents. It's about relationships. If you want it, so do we. Need more adventure? So do we! Look forward to escaping the ordinary?
So do we.
Want to sharpen your skills in the kitchen?
So do we.
Want your kid to stick with music lessons?
So do we.
I think they got it, guys.
So do we.
Federally insured by NCUA. Equal Housing Opportunity. NMLS 912757.
Join Jones Drugs on Saturday, October 25th from 10 to 2 as they partner with the police department for the National DEA Drug Take Back event. Come by the parking lot at the Prattville, Millbrook, Montgomery, and Phoenix City locations and bring your unwanted, unneeded, or expired prescriptions. That's Saturday, October 25th, 10 to 2.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole. For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
It's Johnny from Sinclair's on Bond Road. We've been in business almost 30 years.
Sinclair's East, Vaughn at Taylor.
I think if you hadn't tried us, you should give us a try. We've got a great menu, offered anything from chicken fingers, wings, salads, fajitas. At lunchtime, we do great country lunch with different vegetables and different meats every day.
Sinclair's, where you get great sandwiches and our daily meat and 3 special at lunch, to great pasta, chicken, steaks, and seafood for dinner.
Our most popular items are, we got a soup called she crab soup, which is extremely popular. We've got a bunch of pasta dishes, which people love. Mediterranean chicken is my favorite.
Sinclair's.
We do live music, light stuff on Wednesdays and Thursdays, and then on Fridays and Saturdays, maybe 3-piece bands or 4-piece bands.
Come see why Sinclair's has seen lesser restaurants come and go over the years. Johnny Sullivan Sinclair's at the corner of Vaughn and Taylor. Find them on Facebook at Sinclair's East. Google search Sinclair's Restaurant. Sinclair's.
Jenny King, the king of clean, delivers reliable, high-quality commercial cleaning services through a proven franchise model that empowers local business owners. Jenny King's franchise owners receive the training, support, and resources needed to succeed, while clients benefit from tailored cleaning solutions backed by a global brand. Jenny King ensures consistent results, trust, and success for everyone we serve. Go to JennyKingCleans.com and find out how we can help you. That's JennyKingCleans.com.
Jenny King, the king of clean.
Trustworthy, accurate, immediate. Carrying your voice across the river region. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back, folks. This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services. Don't forget that Ashley and the team there at Pest Pro are now providing wildlife control. And especially in these fall months, you might start hearing things rumble in your attic or in your walls. You want to get that squirrel or mouse or chipmunk, whatever it is that got inside. They can not only expel that wildlife, they can also make sure to get rid of any sort of entry-exit points, as well as other things that might be attracting, say, local wildlife to your humble abode. So y'all check out Pest Pro Services, and not only for their great new wildlife control service, but their all-around general pest control services. Just check them out at ppsriverregion.com or search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces, or call them direct at 265-9990. And be sure to tell them Joey, the fellow on the radio, sent you. Let's go to Biloxi Gambler with some breaking news. What's up?
If people remember the Auburn-Georgia game,
where Auburn, did not score the touchdown, they said, and, there's no way unless he was holding the ball below his waistline, his top of his body broke the plane. And then the other call where Kirby Smart says he was calling a timeout, and he changed it to I was clapping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there were 11 complaints filed with the SEC Commission. This broke 28 minutes ago. Veteran SEC official Ken Williamson he lives in Tuscaloosa. He's a real estate guy up there. He's been permanent, but he was a referee. Veteran SEC official Ken Williamson has been permanently suspended from officiating conference games.
Wow. That's a heck of a response.
Yeah. So he is, there may be a lot more coming out about this. To be permanently suspended, that goes into gambling, point shaving, all that kind of crap.
Yep. Wow. It could be an even bigger story than that. Well, I appreciate that.
It could be. Oh, and I do have things living in my walls for real. But I just went ahead and named them. I got used to them. They've been there for years.
I think you should call Pest Pro, man.
It's a very old house. Okay, guys. Talk to you later.
Before I forget, this part of the program brought to you by Prattville Carpet, and Ray's still on vacation, but Chad, Terry, David, the whole team over there is ready to help you out for, flooring solutions, resurfacing solutions, whether you're looking for traditional hardwood carpeting, the Luxury Vital plank. Don't forget they have the new epoxy floor service they provide, which is really, really cool. Or maybe you're looking to redo the kitchen or the bathroom with some ceramic tile. Prattville Carpet can help you out. It's just as simple as calling them up at 285-8117. They come out, do a free in-home measurement, and then you pick what product you want to use to resurface, and they get it down, get the job done, just that simple. Again, that number for Prattville Carpet, 285-8117, and be sure to tell them you heard about them here on the radio from that Joey Clark fella. Pretty much out of time here. I got ranting way too much in the last hour, but I did promise yelling as this Mansky was leaving. Pamela, y'all have any big things going on for happy hour?
No, it's Wednesday.
It's just
free
Wednesday.
for all.
Free for all?
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. But you look lovely today.
I got my hair done.
I like it. I like it a lot,
like
actually.
the,
yeah, you were telling me about that the other day.
Split color.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, we trade tips on hair.
We're besties with hair.
Anyway, I've already said too much. I'm out of time. Y'all stay tuned. Happy Hour's next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.